Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey!
Hello.
Happy Hump Day.
Yeah.
Busy show today.
Very,
Jason's
man.
got some nuggets and
Crazy.
browns that we need to discuss.
Yeah.
Any reaction on the article so far?
I just told you, honestly, I haven't looked. I had such a busy morning, I haven't even seen.
Some bombshells in there. It's good stuff.
Bombs.
I thought the death threat was the most.
That's one of the bombshells.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
We hadn't heard about that. Also,
Sadly, I'm guessing
Cavs
that's
win.
not uncommon.
Yeah,
I think
unfortunately.
to this extent,
Yeah?
I think
Okay.
it is.
This one's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Cavs win. Nice avenge of their loss to the Pacers on Sunday. Looked good, particularly in the third quarter. Mikey, thanks for pointing out to Coach that the third quarter was their deficiency.
I'll take the credit for last night's win. So
I think they
you're welcome.
corrected that in very fine fashion. Shedeur Sanders is a flashpoint for the Browns. Can you imagine? You can't imagine why that would be controversial for Cleveland Browns fans. Bring up his name and you immediately get a reaction.
Yeah.
Immediately. He's the lightning rod, which might be the wrong reason to bring him here.
Yep. Matter of
Because
fact,
we've had some of those in the past.
we just went up 300 live members because
I mentioned
you
it.
mentioned it.
Yeah, so
We're up
thanks for
300.
joining us. We're going to be talking about Shedeur Sanders and the controversy that I hate saying the controversy that surrounds him because it's not fair to him.
I agree
He has
with that.
nothing to do with it. He has zero to do with it. Nope.
But it's baggage that he carries whether he wants to or not, and that's very unfortunate. Also, the Guardians and their spending habits.
Or lack of spending.
Or lack of spending habits. It's really getting frustrating. Really getting frustrating, particularly when attendance is going up and the results are going up. That's the time to double down and add to your team and get the pieces that you are lacking to try to make a run. But they've done nothing of that. In fact, they've unloaded a lot of names, but they haven't brought many names into the fold. So we'll talk about that. And also a new game.
Well,
Perhaps.
Yeah, so I have
Perhaps.
this game that I concocted. I'm so excited to play it, except the in-studio monitors at the moment, for whatever reason, aren't. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Tegna 1. Steve will show you a shot, but we just have black monitors
We
in the
see
set
nothing
right now.
in here.
And you can't play the game without seeing
the
it because
monitor.
it's literally a visual-only game.
What if you text us the stills that we're supposed to be looking at, and we can look at them that way?
It does. Listen,
Let's get the engineering here fixing this stuff.
well,
What's
we
going on?
texted them, Bull. We're working on it.
Yeah,
Before Before we
Hey,
dive in, though, I
Wait,
do
real
want
quick, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, of course.
I got a quick story.
Okay.
Why is this a thing? Is this only at my bank?
I don't know.
Why are there greeters now at banks?
Greeters?
Yes. I go into my bank and there's a greeter.
I haven't been in
that's
a
very
bank in
awkward.
20 years.
Really?
No.
You don't go to the bank ever?
No.
I got to go to the bank once in a while, not as often as I used to, but I go once in a while.
So what do you mean greeters? Like Walmart greeters?
Kind of.
Really?
He's sitting in a lectern like, hi, how you doing? Like,
Are we sure
I'm just
that
like,
he's
I
a
need to-
greeter
Yes.
and not like an undercover cop ready to
I
bring
could
down
be
a
an
robber?
undercover cop. It's possible, but he's like,
Do they look like they could be in law enforcement?
no, not
Big,
this guy.
bald,
no,
packing?
No, and
No.
I felt bad for him. Like, this is your job. You're a greeter at a bank. I felt bad, but I'm like, I just got to deposit a check.
I might have just found my post-TV retirement
is,
career.
being a greeter
I
at a
would
bank.
love to be a greeter at a bank. I would love that.
Want to sign up, want to get a new 401k? Go see this person here. I don't know, It's just weird. I don't
It's
know why
like-
they started doing that.
It's like an information booth.
Why are you taking a check in a bank?
I know.
I
Is
don't
this
want to say it on the air.
1988?
I know. I have no reason to put
I'll just say
foot
there's
in
a
the bank.
limit to how much you could do online.
Oh, look at this guy.
Whoa, Mr. High Roller! It's usually
You
five
put
figures.
me in that spot. I had to answer
Usually
the question.
limit is 5 figures. So Bull's cashing 6-figure checks.
No, that's not 5 figures.
Let's start the rumor.
Oh,
hey, we see
hey.
there it is.
We got one monitor.
Look at our engineer Anthony
Go
on
try
the
that
case.
monitor then.
Did somebody just turn off the monitors and you guys?
I bet
didn't think
they
to do
did.
that?
We never turn them on or off, so this could be as simple as they were turned off.
Yep,
There it
that's on.
goes.
It's on.
So
Go. All right, game's back on.
we have
Game is back
gotten to the
on.
bottom of
my
our
God.
problem with our monitors.
Power
They were
button.
turned off.
Power button,
So
bro.
game's back on.
Oh,
Anthony
my
needs
God.
a raise.
Yeah.
Now he's director, producer, Cantaspelli, and engineer.
Did you figure that out on your own?
Just turned them all off.
Did you?
Somebody snuck
Someone
in here and
turned.
turned
We've
them
never
off.
turned these off in the history.
Did we
of
take a
GCSS.
power hit? And if so, Steve, would that keep them down? Perhaps.
Potentially, maybe. I don't know. Before we jump
That's
in,
funny.
though, because that means the game's back on, I'm thrilled. I just want to say thanks to the Cavs. You guys noticed some new things on the set here. We have
got
some
some
new
bobbleheads?
bobbleheads. We got a
Yeah.
Cavs jersey hanging up. We have a Cavs flag behind Jay.
Very nice.
I asked the Cavs PR staff, hey, Cavs are 35-5. Let's get some more stuff on the set. Can you send us a little gift box to display
The Cavs are
incredible
great with that
season?
stuff, by the way.
And they sent us a giant box. So I just want to say thank you to Devin, BJ, and all the Cavs PR guys for
Kind of looks
hooking
like
us up.
real hair on Jared Allen.
It
does.
is. It is not fake.
It
Well, I
is.
don't know if it's real hair, but it's certainly not.
I listen. I
same
like.
type.
It's not hard plastic.
Yeah.
I like when guys get it culturally accurate. I like that.
Yeah.
You
Important.
See, this is
Got that fro flow going.
Got it going, man. I like
the
that.
Cavs are really good about that. The Cavs are great with, I think, fan relations and media relations. I think the Cavaliers, with their outreach, making sure that we all have what we need,
Outside
they're
of
very,
guests.
very good at that.
We could do a better job with getting guests for shows there, Cavs. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, it's a tough
shake it up a
ask.
little bit.
I mean, it's like every day is an important day for the Cavs.
Well, we just want to say thank you for hooking
Love
us
it.
up. But
Great stuff.
Let's dive right into the main topic of the day. And we'll get to the Cavs, but it starts with Jason's article this morning. We're going to get to all of what Jason had to say after a quick word from Game Time. Live events are so much better than watching it from your home. So get to live events in 2025 and buy your tickets for those events with Game Time. Game Time's made it even easier than ever to get tickets to your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. The feature filters out fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. And what's the cheapest get-in price for Monday's game against the Suns?
$38 in section 220 still.
That is a 3:30 tip-off on Martin Luther King Day. So use Game Time to get your tickets. Redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off now. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Bull?
Game time.
Can
So
we
let's
get a
dive
price
right
check
into
on
it,
the
guys.
national championship game tickets?
We'll find that out for the next Game Time read.
Okay, I'm just curious.
So-
I heard earlier this week what they were going for. It's astonishing. So much for those tickets being hard to scoop up.
Really cheap?
No, I meant
Hey,
there was concern that
we could do national championship tickets.
Hold
later.
on, hold on. I was
this
concerned that the Buckeyes having to travel all these times,
Yeah.
you'd run out of fans willing to spend the money. That was not a concern.
Okay.
There's no there's no limit to the
and I'm
Buckeyes
sure they're
that
going to
will
go up
travel.
by Monday. Jason dropped an end-of-season article on the Browns today, and he's going to dive into some of the specifics of that deal and that article. But here's how we're going to do this. I picked out 4 quotes I found most interesting from the article. I'll read you those quotes. Jason, you could elaborate on what was in the article. Then if we have any follow-up questions, we can react and hear what we had to what we think of some of these quotes. But the first quote I picked from Jason's article on The Athletic, and you should all go read it because it's a fascinating read, is this, quote, "You have to bring Joe Flacco back. Someone has to teach Deshaun the offense. Joe picked it up faster in 30 days than Deshaun has in 2 years." That was a Brown source to Jason Lloyd of The Athletic. Jason, you want to give us a little context to what that means?
Can I ask a quick question about that? Was that said after last season, or now
No,
they have to bring Joe
it was
Flacco
said
back?
I've sat on that for a while. That was said at the end
Because
of
when
last
I
season.
first read that, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
a year later,
Yeah.
a year older, they have
No.
to. Okay,
No,
I think
it
that
was-
makes more sense to me
It
now.
was said in them, and like I guess, you know, these when you write stuff like this, these things take a lot of time.
Sure.
And specifically with some of the Deshaun stuff, you know, we had been working on a larger piece on the Browns, and it just takes a lot of time to pull all this stuff together to make sure that you've got everything and how you want it and whatever else, and make sure there's no information out there. And with the Deshaun piece of this, the clock sped up this year, obviously, on us with the Achilles and then the second Achilles tear, and it's pretty obvious they were moving on from him. And then with the second Achilles tear, we had a conversation within The Athletic of like, well, with what we have on the Deshaun stuff, it's either write it now or
Never write it.
Or never write it,
Yeah.
because it's losing its relevance.
Did you find guys were more willing to go on the record because it appears that his time with the Browns is over?
I noticed this year guys were much more willing to talk than they were at any other point. I think it just got to the point within that organization that everyone was just sick of it and ready to move on. And even while he was playing, like early in the year when he wasn't playing well and it wasn't going well, I think guys were just fed up with all of the changes that the organization tried to make and like, hey, listen, when you make the investment you got to do everything you can to make it work.
Sure.
None of it worked. But that quote in particular, that went back to the end of last season. And that is really, I think, when that was the first thing that sent my radar up of like, okay, pay attention to what's going on here. Because, I mean, he didn't have a terrible year last year. He didn't have a great year. And obviously everyone clung to the second half of Baltimore. We laugh about it now. But that was really the first trigger point for me of like, okay, what's going on? And then, so after you hear that, and then they make some of the staff changes that they make, and then you see the way that Deshaun isn't really throwing. Remember, we had the conversation in training camp about, I told you, like, this is weird, guys. Something weird is going on here, and it just, none of this makes sense. And it really all stemmed back to, that conversation I had was the first point of like, okay, there's some stuff going on here.
So it was a comprehension problem. He couldn't grasp the offense.
I don't know if he wasn't interested in it. I don't know if it was a comprehension problem, but whatever it was, I mean, we saw it.
No, we did.
Like Flacco came in and threw for 300 yards in every game, 4 straight games or something like that. Like he came in and the offense took off.
Same with Jameis this year.
Like Deshaun plays this year, and I don't know how much this year was the shoulder, how much was just mentally checked. I don't know, but obviously when he was on the field, we saw early on, this is broken. This is not going to work. The Dallas game, he's throwing the ball 5 and 6 yards out of bounds on some of these routes, and you're just like, guys, this isn't going to work. And then Jameis comes in, and boom, they take. Now the wins didn't follow, but the offense certainly looks significantly better.
You know, in the original, have you guys all seen the original Bad News Bears movie?
Yeah.
You know how they're terrible, and their pitcher's Rudy Stein. And then they get Amanda Wurlitzer to be their pitcher.
Wow, great job on the name recall.
Thank you. And their fortunes change.
Tatum O'Neal.
Right, Tatum O'Neal. And they're doing a montage later in the movie where she's pitching and they're finally starting to win and everybody else is playing better because of her. But then one day she has a sore elbow, they got to put Rudy Stein in, the music changes, and all of a sudden the whole team sucks again.
Yeah.
That's basically what we've seen the last 2 years.
The Bad News
The Bad
Browns.
News Browns.
The Bad News Browns.
Someone please edit a mashup of that.
Yes. Joe Flacco and Jameis are the Amanda Wurlitzers. and Deshaun is Rudy Stein.
That's a great analogy, Bull. That is so dead on because that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And, we talked yesterday, are they a quarterback away?
Yeah.
Or Monday, rather.
Yeah.
And what's stunning is I got a lot of reaction to that segment. A lot of people
numbers.
reached out and talked to me about that segment. And it was funny. Most of, if I can sort of blend it all together, most of the reaction was this. Yeah, they're just a quarterback away from being able to compete. Obviously, to your point, they need far more to be in the upper echelons to try to hope for a Super Bowl. But everybody said what I said to start the point. The proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Exhibit A, Deshaun Watson at quarterback.
Yeah.
Exhibit B and C, Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston at quarterback.
I mean, and in just the last 2 years, we've seen Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, and C.J. Stroud all take teams that the year before had been terrible to the playoffs.
Yes.
And Stroud won one game.
Stroud
won
two
another
games.
game this year. Jaden Daniels just won his first game this year. Nix
right.
lost, but obviously, he played great this season. So, yeah.
Kind of along those lines, I talked to, this wasn't in the piece, but after one of the early season games, I don't remember which one, and I was talking to one of the players on his way out of the locker room, and they were down and dejected. It was after a loss. And then I saw that same player midweek, and we're just talking about the Sunday night game. And I don't remember who was playing in that Sunday night game, but the player I was talking to was like, I went home and watched that. It's like they're playing a different game than what we
I know
played.
what game it was.
G said that
you told
a
me
lot.
about it.
Did I tell you that?
It was the Washington-Cincinnati game with Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow.
All right, I don't remember that.
Yeah. What G has said for the last 2 years, why when I watch these other teams, Does it look like they're playing real football?
Well, guess what?
And
the players on the Browns have said that too.
Yeah,
It just feels
that's
like
demoralizing when internally they know.
well, because I mean, look at the quarterback play that they had that they were dealing with in their
Yeah.
game, and then you go home and you watch that,
Burrow and Daniels.
and you say
We're not near that.
we're not playing that game.
The thing that really stood out to me, because when you get a quarterback and you go and look and you say, okay, let me just really look at this film. Let's dive into this all 22. The thing that was so alarming to me was it just seemed like his processor was gone. The processing ability to diagnose what somebody was trying to do and to do it in a timely fashion just seemed to be non-existent anymore. And it didn't get better, it just got worse. It just looked like, and then you started seeing things where, he started predetermining throws. He started making a decision like, I'm going here. And it was one of those things where I think, and I can say this because I've played on teams where you run a triple option, and the Browns was running the triple option last year. like it's 3rd and 9, and you handed the ball to a fullback, and you do that for about 2 quarters, and you're gonna be real quick. You start to look at your coaches, and that's the thing that really got me. And the McNuggets will talk about it. Is you
quote.
Start to look at your coaches, and you're gonna say it's like looking at a bad parent, and you're like. You're looking at the other parents.
Are you going
like,
to do something about
save
this?
me from this crazy.
Yeah.
Like you just gonna let that
What's
ride?
next, the wing team?
Yeah, like this. Come on, bro.
That
This is not
leads
gonna
us
get it done.
right to our next quote, G. So this is once again from Jason's article on The Athletic this morning. And I quote, according to multiple players, those mistakes, referring to Deshaun Watson, weren't pointed out in film, frustrating at least a few veterans who noticed Stefanski would not criticize Watson in front of them. When Jameis replaced Watson, Stefanski returned to pointing out the quarterback's mistakes in film sessions.
Jason, that was the most shocking thing in your story, aside from the death threat. The level of the death threat was very disturbing to me. But other than that, this was the most disturbing thing I read that you've reported, because I just felt that Stefanski was above that. Now, look, I understand if he was told by the front office, kid gloves with this guy, fragile psyche, you could push him right over the edge. That's not football, though. If you can't handle that, everybody in the room knows it, and you've got to move on from it.
And I think Deshaun was more fragile than I realized in the moment, because I mean, we went round and round. I'll go back to the Flacco thing. We went round and round, and I said, you can't bring him back. And I kept saying, it's not about Deshaun, it's about the locker room. You can't divide the locker room like that. And you kept saying it's Deshaun. I think you were right. I think he was a little bit more fragile in terms of, and if you put yourself in his shoes for a minute, he was never embraced here. Obviously, not overly loved. And the whole city fell for Joe Flacco. Right. So you've got this whole city swooning for him. Meanwhile, you're standing here busted up on the sideline trying to play the same game, and you get hurt and whatever else, and you hear all these people cheering for him and they don't like you. So it puts you in a bad mind frame to begin with. And I do think that sort of he played a role in Joe not coming back, along with what I was saying about the locker room. But in terms of this, I was surprised to hear this, and the Browns will probably push back on that and say that's not true. All I can tell you is when the guys in the cleats are telling you this, and it's not just one.
It was multiple.
It was multiple.
You said.
It was multiple, and and I'm not going to the 53rd guy on the team with this stuff, right?
You're going to team leaders.
Obviously, I can't tell you who it is, but it's guys who know this stuff when they see it. Guys who have been around long enough to be able to pick this out and spot it. And it may be subtle, and it may not be obvious, and it may not be, I'm sure Kevin never said, I'm sure it wasn't that Kevin never said anything negative about Deshaun. But whatever happened in those team film sessions, and G, you would know this, when you got everybody in the room and you're watching film together, something happened in that room enough for multiple guys to say, hey, we're all seeing this. We all saw it. Why aren't you pointing that out? We all see it. Have you ever experienced that before?
I've experienced it, and when it happens, there's really no coming back from it almost. It is almost like either the player has to go or the coach got to go. Because what starts to happen is you start to we all in the film room and players, we don't have a problem getting cussed out. As a matter of fact, we laugh and joke, and players will tell you. Tyvus says all the time, you do something on film, you say on a practice field or in the game, and you immediately in the back of your mind log it away and say, oh, "Yep, I'm gonna get it on film."
Sure, it's part of it.
I totally didn't do the right assignment, or I got worked on that play. So everybody is the buy-in. The buy-in is you got to be able to hold everybody accountable in real time, and they're watching you. And guys in the back room, the young guys, the older guys, the veterans, they watching the coach to see. And you gonna keep that same energy with Deshaun as you kept with everybody else. And and the biggest point was when you said they stopped doing that when Deshaun was there, and then they went back to it when Jameis was the quarterback. And then that's when everybody notices it. Because now you're coaching that guy in real time, and they're like, hold on. This wasn't the case when we was taking L's early in the season.
That's right.
It was all good.
And that's why, for all the piling on Deshaun we're doing, which deservedly so, this is a bigger indictment of Kevin Stefanski.
I agree,
This is one of the biggest black marks on his career. He looks very bad doing this. There is no excuse. I don't want to hear that even if it was the front office saying to him, hey, you can't do this. If you're Kevin Stefanski, you got job security. You have a guaranteed contract. You got to be better than that. So he's got to learn from this, because this is a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Now, Bull, let me ask you this, because we've always talked about coaches have a skill set of being able to treat 53 in 53 different ways, because we all know there's certain buttons you can push with some guys. And can we chalk this up to that? Or when it comes to being critical and making the team better, that doesn't fly?
To me, you obviously got to talk to people differently, and maybe you could be harsher in your criticism publicly to one guy than another.
Right.
But you can't just ignore the obvious flaws.
Especially at that position.
Yeah, you can't.
I'll give you a perfect example. David Blatt and LeBron James, and then Ty Lue, Game 7 in the locker room against the Warriors. LeBron, I believe the story goes, Jason could tell better than me, LeBron is killing. He's working the stats like he always do. Stats, he got rebounds, boards, assists, and Ty Lue comes in front of the whole squad and said, no. You got to be better. And what you talking about? I got to be better. I got 22, 5, and 9 already. He said, no. It ain't about, he calls them out in real time. And I think I heard this story. You tell it, Phil Handy told the story, and LeBron comes out of the locker room with his hair on fire.
Yeah.
Now, Ty Lue didn't have any cachet. He's a first-time head coach. But he realized in that moment, I got to challenge the best player in the world, and that's LeBron in this basketball. And we talk about psyche, those dudes got really fragile psyches, but it just shows you that you have to be able to do that, because that is your only power. That's your superpower as a coach, is pushing the right buttons. And I hope he learns from it, because he's going to have to eventually get a quarterback and be able to hold that young guy accountable as well.
And apparently he has with every other quarterback.
Yeah, he has.
Right?
I think he has.
The fact that he didn't do it with Deshaun.
That's why it's so shocking to me, because it was so out of character.
Right.
For whatever reason with Deshaun, I just think throughout his career, he hasn't had a lot of people around him who are honest with him.
Who pushed him?
Yeah. I think throughout I think he got a lot of really bad advice throughout all of the ordeal that he went through and all of the other stuff. I think he got some really bad advice. I think they botched that from the beginning. And I just think that he hasn't had a lot of people around him who have really been honest with him.
Maybe even going back to Clemson.
I don't know. I have no idea, but maybe. I don't know.
But what happened between what happened between the meeting that you talked about, where Deshaun says,
Coach me right now.
Coach me, how can I get better?
Yeah.
What happened from that energy level to where they were at the end? Was it because he was a little more emotionally damaged in terms of what it was?
I've always wondered, there's no way of measuring that, right? There's no way. So when you see, you're referring to the first meeting that they have. So it's Kevin, it's Andrew, and it's Jimmy in Rusty Harden's office in Houston, and they're having this conversation, and it's my understanding Kevin had an iPad, and Kevin and Deshaun are watching film together. And it's just the two of them. It's just like me and Bull are sitting here with an iPad, and they're going over plays, and everybody else in the room is doing what you guys do. They can't see anything. They're just sitting here and watching.
Right.
They're watching a coach and a quarterback chop it up and talk shop. And so Kevin would show them these plays, and this is what we saw to you in Houston. This is how I think you fit with us, and this is what we can do. And one of the things that Deshaun asked him and said, okay, well, coach me. Like, right now, coach me. What can I improve on? And the first thing Kevin went to was your ball fakes on play action. And Deshaun laughed and said, man, you sound like my high school coach. My high school coach used to tell me that all the time. So right there establishes how important play action is to Kevin and how important that is.
It's the first thing he goes to.
It's the first thing he goes to. And what's the one thing that Deshaun didn't want to do was be under center. He wants to be in shotgun. Well, play action's more effective under center than it is out of shotgun.
Sure.
So right away, there's sort of a...
What's funny
But you
is
don't know it, and you don't realize that in real time. It's only something when you realize in hindsight.
But what's interesting is that's been a criticism of his game going back to high school, and he's never improved.
Yeah, and because he didn't have to, because he was so athletic and did all these other things well, and it just sort of covered up for it.
Yeah.
But to your point, I don't know that there's any way for the Browns to measure, and I think we all overlooked this at the time. I don't think there's any way to measure, and every time I say this, people get upset. The emotional and mental strain or damage or whatever that everything that he went through took on him. And I understand, like, listen, a lot of it was self-inflicted, and he brought it on himself with some of this stuff, if you want to believe the whatever. So you say, well, poor Deshaun, what he went through. That's not what I'm trying to say. But anyone who's in that position, who has your reputation put on trial like that, who's in the news, and the checks that he has to write, and when you get sued that many times, anybody, it's going to take a toll on you. Yeah. But
we all ignored that.
Yeah.
They ignored that.
They did.
I think
we talked about it at times. Because I mentioned early on, I've heard, like, people have said, you don't know how he's going to come out on the other side of this. Yeah. But it was a 10-second conversation, and then you move on to, but look how good he is on the field. But there's no test for that. There's no test for what's a guy going to, especially he goes through all of this, and now you just hand him a check for $230 million, no matter what. You have $230 million. It doesn't matter how poorly you play. And so I just think it was a combination of like everything he goes through, and he goes, oh, wow, I still have all this money. And I just think something broke.
And that money, like, that money changed, like, not only locally, but that changed everybody's opinion, because now you're the first of your kind to ever even get a contract like that. So your favorite player, if it's Brett Favre or Steve Young or Joe Montana, they're telling you that he's better than all of those other guys. Right. And so you're like, the hell he is. And so you have no home here because you replace somebody. You're not playing well. You got everything in the national news is against you. People boo you. And then now you got this check. And if it was just a regular contract, you say it would be a bad deal. But then it became the most infamous contract in the history of the game.
Yeah, there's something to that.
Because you're the first one.
I think sometimes with these events, history has a way of encapsulating it properly and accurately. And you're right, we were lost in the trees when it was happening. But 3 years from now, when the final story of Deshaun Watson in Cleveland is written, I think it'll be a foregone conclusion that, well, he went through this unbelievable mental gauntlet with all of these claims. His character was assailed. He felt like the whole world was against him, and then he never was the same player. So I think ultimately the narrative will be, yeah, that big 26 lawsuits against him, that ruined him. He was never the same guy. When in reality, it probably was some of the physical diminishing skills because of the injuries.
There's a lot of different factors.
100%.
Yeah. But I do think that, like, I remember when A-Rod signed his big deal with the Rangers. Bull, you'll remember this. It was $25 million a year for 10 years. $250 million. We'd never seen anything like it. A-Rod kind of crumbled under that. A-Rod, remember how long it took him to finally win a World Series?
Yeah,
initially.
Right.
Now, he had the luxury of 10 years to work it out, and he did. But when you put a bullseye on your back that is that contract, sometimes just the weight of that contract alone is enough to crack a player. But when you throw onto the fact everything that he had to deal with, and I'm with you, we're not saying woe is Deshaun, but there is still this sliver of possibility. Not even a sliver. It's we don't know what happened. It may have been an unfair character assassination.
Right, and for these purposes, it's irrelevant.
It doesn't matter
whether he did it to himself or it was done to him. It was a mental hurdle to overcome.
But it's even worse if it wasn't fair.
Right, sure.
Unfair character assassination.
And I always say this, so people say what you want. I mean, it's all about what you got in your team. The lawyers that came against Deshaun Watson went against Jay-Z. You see how well that worked? Nothing.
I mean, Rusty Hardin is a well-thought-of lawyer. He's like one of the most successful lawyers.
I mean, they brought lawsuits and claims that Jay-Z assaulted somebody, and within 2 weeks it was like, oh, really? You're going to retract that, and you're going to drop this claim. And it was funny because there was a couple of people listening. He's like, well, what if Deshaun Watson actually had his representation? Because it was two different things. It
could be the reputation, it could be the client.
It's two different things, because here's the thing. Deshaun Watson has to get back to playing. Jay-Z just has to get back to just hanging out. So he had an incentive to say, okay, we're going to finish this and get this off the books. And we're not calling Deshaun Watson any sort of like tragic hero or anything. We're just pointing out that there's a lot of different things along the line that contribute to a guy who we thought we were getting that we just didn't. And I think, to me, the thing that could not be understated and that hurt him the most, sitting out a year of highly competitive sports is devastating.
Especially at that position.
At that position.
Well, a year and
It was
then
over
11
a year.
years.
Over a year, and not be that is almost career suicide.
That's right. What's the
We got
next
two
one,
more
Mike?
quotes from the article. I'm going to read these back to back because they're not tied together, but I think we could analyze them at once. So we'll go back to back here. Two quotes. First, players told me there was a constant heaviness surrounding Watson in the locker room. There was a different energy in the building upon his departure after he tore his Achilles in October. A number of veterans told me that it felt like a cloud had been lifted, end quote. Another quote from a different part of the article dealt with Watson and his off-the-field stuff that he had to deal with. Quote, off the field, Watson was dealing with a traumatic personal matter. His agent received a disturbing email in June from someone threatening to shoot Watson or burn down his house, according to a police report. Police later closed the investigation with no suspects identified. Jason, you want to elaborate on
How can
either
they
of those?
close the investigation if there's nobody was identified?
Yeah, so we didn't go real in depth. That was a decision by the editors, by my editors.
Gotcha.
I had more in there from the report on that, and they chose for whatever
Gotcha.
reason to scale back on that. But on this, I mean, it's in the report. We can talk about it. Someone basically they created a burner email account that had never been used before or since. The police figured all this out later on. Created a burner email account on a burner phone that had never been used before or since, and sent this email to Deshaun's agent saying that he was sitting in Deshaun's driveway contemplating whether to shoot him or burn his house down.
He wasn't there at the time.
He was not there.
Right.
This was in June. He was not at the residence at the time,
No,
thankfully.
But
Well, and so
Neither the emailer or
Correct.
Deshaun
Right.
were at the house at that time.
I mean, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. But
It's disturbing.
So his agent gets the email, obviously alerts the police. The police go to the house, put the house on a watch, make sure everything's okay. There was nobody in the driveway at the time. And then through geofencing and everything else, the police were able to investigate and find out that, I'm not going to say where this person was, but it was at a public place. But it was
In the Cleveland area.
in the Cleveland area, but not in a different city, not in Deshaun City, but certainly within
Proximity.
yes. And so police determined that he was not at the property, did not send it from the property, and they had no suspects, and they considered the investigation closed. So, I mean, that is, whatever he went through, whatever you think of, nobody should have that happen to them. And, and part of me is surprised it didn't happen more often, and part of me is like, I can't imagine being in that spot and having to deal
I
with
don't
that.
know why it was closed, Bull, but to answer one of your questions, during my years at ESPN, I was subject of a stalker who had left a location and actually come to New York City from New Orleans.
Gee.
And now there were other threats along the way. It happens, unfortunately. This was my eye-opening of what we're in society, because I used to like everybody. I trust everybody. Everybody's good, and when you're at a certain level, you get a cynicism because you're like, wait a minute, what? What is this person saying they want to do?
Yeah.
This now in this particular case, in my case, this person wasn't threatening any action. She was delusional that we were going to be married and have a family together.
Jeez.
Now, what was interesting to me, what I learned about that at the time was ABC and Disney have a very, very capable threat unit. It's their security, and we
have the
always
same
would have
thing.
security when we would travel with crowds. There would always be bodyguards and security, and we were constantly getting either email or communication, voicemail in this case, and they would investigate. And I was surprised that sometimes they would say, in a relatively short manner, this doesn't raise to the level of our concern. And I'm like,
He raises my concern.
I'm the target here. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
And more often, I never heard from them again. But what was interesting to me about this one was in the very, very, very early stages, where to me it looked like a lot of the other kind of incidents, they had said, no, this one's real. This one's serious. And that got my attention because I don't want to say they were quick to dismiss the other ones, but it happened a number of times where they're like, no, this is frivolous. There's nothing to this. We're going to keep an eye on it. We've reached out to the person. We've made contact, and we think this is the end of it. And it always was. But this particular time was the only time they had said, okay, this is real. And this was in day one. I had come back to work on a Monday, and there was a weekend full of voicemail on I would normally have like 10 or 15 voicemail. I had over 100, all from her. And the space would run out, and she would immediately call back. And she was actually giving her location as she was on her way to New York. So when I show up to work Monday, it's like DEFCON 10.
Yeah.
And by Tuesday, she was in New York outside our studio watching our show on the street monitors. And it's very disturbing. And you're looking over your shoulder. I wasn't sleeping right. I was mostly worried about my kids.
Yeah.
This person had a computer background too, and I was afraid that she could find out anything she wanted to because they can. And so, not the same level. She never threatened harm or death, but I just said I don't know what this person's going to do when she realizes that I'm married and have a family and that she's not going to be my future wife. So she was arrested a number of times, released, came back, arrested, released, came back, and then she went into the mental community, into a hospital, and my rights were completely gone. I could no longer find out who it was because she had more rights to her privacy with the medical stuff.
Wow.
I bring all of that up to say this. The police may have looked into it, and the reason they closed it is because they could have said, we see these with sports figures and fans. This is a wackadoo.
Yeah.
There was never a second contact. So what they told me was it raises to another level when there's constant contact, more than one. Because a lot of nutballs, and this sucks, but a lot of people are crazy enough to reach out once and say, kill yourself or watch your back. And then that's it. They never come back. So I don't know because he didn't make another contact, but the fact that he was dealing with that is unacceptable. And wouldn't it affect all of you guys when you're driving to work? If you hear someone say they want to kill you?
Of course. The fact that there's no closure. So, they investigate it and they say, oh, you're just a, wacky person. But y'all got to understand something. We live in a place where mass shootings happen like it ain't nothing every other day. And it's disturbing to know that somebody went through the trouble of having a burner phone, creating a burner email, doing all of these different things, and then using certain things like, I'm in your driveway right now. That's terrorism. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it is.
And so sometimes, and I always say this, and I try to be very conscious of the way I say things, because sometimes when you're speaking about people and individuals, especially athletes, we can be a little coarse and we can start to toe the line between something that could be meant to be disrespectful or it's a little dehumanizing. And I always have to watch that because I don't want to signal that it's okay to then take the next step in certain areas. So I'm always conscious of realizing that, yes, this is entertainment, and yes, I have a job to do, and yes, my opinion may be strong, but I also have to realize that there are people out here that have no moral compass and don't have the emotional intelligence to cut the line between the Browns just lost a football game and you're upset. Your life isn't over, man. Like, it's a game, it's a sport. I know we're passionate, but you can't cross the line to a point where now it's just a situation where people feel if you can dehumanize a person or because they're rich, it gives you an opportunity to do certain things because of that money and their status as a public figure. So, that part of the story was really tough for me because it's just I wouldn't think that people would even get to that, but it just shows you where we are today.
It feels like so. I mean, obviously, it seems like this is a bigger picture of issue, but social media has made this all worse because it's so
100%.
easy to be so evil. It's
Yeah.
much easier to be evil to someone on social media.
You can get the message
We
to
never,
everybody.
we never had when we were kids or growing
Yeah.
up. We never had access to celebrities and athletes. Now you do.
Yeah.
Now you do.
There's an interesting part of that. You do if you participate, if you choose to participate
That's
in
true.
those worlds.
That's
I've
true.
said this a number of times. If I were a professional athlete, I wouldn't have a social media account.
I've said the same
I would
thing.
have nothing.
But you know what? Now I know G and I feel differently than you and
You do.
Jason do.
I understand.
You know, we interact with fans, and yes, there's a downside to it. But I know G especially, and I do too. You know, you want to interact with fans. It's a give back, right? The fans, if we didn't have a big following, we wouldn't have our careers. So I appreciate the fans, and it's hard to find that fine line.
I
It
used
is.
to be there. I used
Yeah.
to be in that spot. Unfortunately, you always hear this: the few bad apples ruin the batch.
do.
And
Yeah.
and for me, especially when I started, ESPN encouraged me, hey, reach out, engage,
Right.
interact. And this was 10 years ago when Twitter was first becoming a thing. And I did. And I felt like it helped my brand tremendously because even when people would be difficult and say, you know, how in the world can you sit there and listen to them say this and not push back? I would actually answer them.
Yeah.
And then I realized, and somebody at ESPN who was in the social media space, that was their job, was to manage that stuff, used a phrase that I'll never forget: careful feeding the cats. I said, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And they said, when you give of yourself, there is more expected of you.
Sure.
Other fans see you interacting. Other fans will see that when someone's critical of you and you respond, you give them oxygen.
Right.
And that's why I changed my entire outlook on social media
I get it.
and chat rooms and
Yeah.
all of that
It is-
stuff
it is
because
a-
it's a dark, toxic
it's a
place.
it's a very fine line. And what I notice is, look, I'm around my family a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm around them. I signed up for this. They necessarily didn't sign up for that.
That's true.
Right.
And so for me, what I try to realize is, yes, there's a fine line. There's certain things that I would have done 2 years ago that it just dawned on me like, wow, I can't do that anymore. That's kind of wild. Like I can't do, like I was just talking to I said, man, I used to go to nightclubs all the time. I can't go to nightclubs. No. I can't go to. Like,
Do yourself a favor and don't.
Yeah.
And so
You're an automatic target.
you're a target in a lot of different places, and it is true. I always used to tell people, hey, man, you don't got to get disrespectful for me to say hi to you on Twitter. Just throw me a question. We can go back and forth and have a conversation.
Yeah.
But certain people, you are right. If they say something negative to you, they see that it gives them an opportunity to communicate because you're more likely to say something.
And then you're going to have to deal with it more. And so,
Right,
listen,
right.
I don't begrudge that. Like, if you guys use social media in a different way
Yeah.
than Jason and I do, I don't even really use it anymore.
Well, we
and I think
also,
I'm happiest.
It's different.
now.
I mean, your career started and has mostly been as a sports broadcaster.
I understand. Yes.
A TV
And not
broadcaster.
an opiner.
Jason's a writer.
Yes.
We did sports talk.
And you do opinion.
You need to do more interaction
Yes,
with fans
yes.
on that.
And so,
It's-
but here's
yeah.
what I would say to people.
Yeah.
I tell young people that are asking me now,
Yeah.
how do I interact with social? And I always say this: it's good to get traction for your brand. It's good to grow your recognition. However, just be very, very cognizant of this. All of your interactions are your decisions, and there's going to be a lot of negative things that come from you interacting with everyone.
Yeah.
And if you're okay with that, that's fine. I just felt for me it was a waste of energy, and it didn't advance my
No, that's
my
true.
career objective
I
at all.
get it.
So I don't do it.
Jason, when I read the article and give you the final word on it, I came away with just overall mixed emotions. Some confused, some sad, some angry, some remorseful. It was a whole bag of these feelings because it wasn't just a black and white story. How did you feel while you were writing it, and your takeaways from
We're
it?
never going to have all of the answers, because everybody says all the time, whose decision was it on Deshaun? I want to know. Like, somebody's got to pay the price.
We'll
for
never
this.
know that.
And here's where I think, and so like, I can't. We were talking about this before the show. For me to write something in The Athletic, it has to meet a certain sourcing standard of the New York Times. It is an incredibly high standard. So I can believe things, and there's things like, it's the whole thing, what do you know and what can you prove, right? Here's what I believe, and I guess we'll wrap it with this. Like, how did Deshaun wind up in Cleveland? I believe Andrew Berry was on board first. I believe Berry was really interested in him. I think, and I'm going to freak out the Baker people, I think the Browns looked at Baker and said, he is not emotionally stable. We cannot give him all of this money. We can't invest our entire future in this guy because he's all over the place. And now,
Who was that, do you know?
A lot of people, and like,
so that was the
decision makers.
consensus.
That was the consensus. I think that was. I'm not saying it was 100-0, but the majority felt
No
like
one was in there saying this guy is going to be. He's going to lead the league in touchdowns in 2 years.
No, I don't think anybody was saying that. I don't think anybody was saying that. I think they thought he was a good quarterback. He was a good quarterback. Yeah. Can you win a Super Bowl with him?
That was the question.
And I think and they looked at some of the off-field stuff, that how immature he was and how emotionally unstable and just all over the place he was. I mean, it's small, but like the guy shaved 3 times in one day. And it's
I know
small.
that's
small.
But it was weird though.
It is.
It's just weird behavior.
And now if you look back on it, he sued his dad. Like, there was a lot going on there. His dad was stealing money from him.
A lot of money.
So there was a lot.
Crazy.
There was a lot there, and I think they looked at it and said, "He's good. Can we do better? This guy's a better quarterback. If we want to win a Super Bowl, this guy, for all of the baggage." And I know you could say, "Well, if they thought Baker was emotionally unstable, how can you give all the money to that guy?"
Jason, now we have the benefit of the results,
right?
Yeah, right.
Which makes the decision now look even more absurd.
But here's what I would say: if you're the Browns and if you think this guy's out there and you can win with this guy, you do everything you can to go get him, because we've talked about this. The price doesn't matter. If it works, it doesn't matter that you gave up 3 first-round picks and you gave them all this money.
Go ask the Rams.
It doesn't matter. When it doesn't work, this is what you get. But I get why they did what they did. And in terms of like whose decision was it, this is not me reporting. This is my thought on this. This is my belief. I believe Barry was on board first. But I think it got to a point where Andrew said, enough is enough. We can't continue with this. And Jimmy said, go. So, we are pot committed to this. There is no turning back now. Guarantee the whole thing. Do whatever you have to do. This is my opinion.
Now, if that's true,
this is
Jay,
my belief.
should there
and I think that's why these guys still have jobs today.
Well, but if Andrew was the guy who was driving the bus on that, how does he have a job today?
I think Andrew
this
was
wasn't
on,
a mistake. This is
think,
the biggest mistake the franchise has ever made.
I think Andrew was in first, but I think at some point
they all came on.
I think at some point they felt like, I think Jimmy at some point took over the train and said, we are not stopping this until we get him.
It feels like 4 high school kids are in a car and one of them says, hey guys, let's go break into so-and-so's house. They're on vacation. Now that's a horrible idea, but eventually everybody on board's like, yeah, let's do it. And then once you get caught, you're all guilty. Everybody did it.
Yeah.
Now, does it matter that there was one person that said, let's do this? And I know that's a terrible analogy. I shouldn't be making an analogy of breaking the law and going after a player. But to me, I'm trying to figure out this. Can this organization trust the person who is driving the bus on the Deshaun Watson issue to get us out of it? And my answer is no.
And a lot of people would probably agree with that. A lot of people would probably agree with that assessment. But we're going to find out here in another 2 months?
Well, second chances. Yeah. I believe in second chances. I like Andrew Berry. I root for Andrew Berry. I hope to hell he's the guy that can fix the mess that he helped create. What a story if he can.
He's got to hit a grand slam in this draft, not just a home run.
He's got to hit up and down the draft. He's got to get free agencies.
Everything right.
He's got to get
But in terms
everything
of all
right.
the answers to all the questions, I don't know that we'll ever have all of those. It's just
tremendous article. Tremendous article. If you haven't read it, go read it.
Check that out.
All right, from a less than enjoyable topic to the best story in basketball. Let's talk a little Cavs now after a quick word from Rocket Money. Rocket Money is the most important app I have on my entire phone. It helped me find a few subscriptions I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and one I was paying for twice, but Rocket Money made it easy to track them down. It was basically like having a personal assistant for my finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app helping find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spendings, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That is rocketmoney.com/lockedon, rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
No UCSS on Monday, by the way, for Martin Luther King
That is
Day.
correct. No
Will
UCSS
not
on
be
Monday. We will have a Ultimate Buckeyes post-game show, and we'll get something up during the day for you guys. The Cavs play at 3:30 that day, so we'll have something on the page for you. But speaking of the Cavs, they flipped the script and dominated the third quarter yesterday against the Indiana Pacers, snapping Indy's win streak. Donovan Mitchell was on fire from the get-go, 27 first-half points, which tied a career high. When you look at what happened last night, whether it's the third quarter flip, Donovan getting hot, the little knee tweak to Darius Garland, or even the zone defense that Cleveland deployed on Indiana in the fourth quarter that completely got them out of their offense. But what do you think was the biggest takeaway from last night's win over Indy?
Well, I think there were a lot of things, but I think what was most interesting, you talked about the third quarter thing. We harped on that this week. Kenny Atkinson talked about it coming off the Indiana loss on Sunday. Not only did they have their best third quarter in a while, both offensively and defensively, but it was coming off their only real bad stretch of the game. The last, 3-4 minutes of the first half, the Cavs looked terrible for that about 3-4 minute stretch. The rest of the game, I thought they played great, but they looked like they were about to pull away from the Pacers in the middle of the second quarter, and then they were awful at the end of the first half. And so for them to play that great third quarter, not only with their struggles in the third quarter, but coming off a terrible end to the first half, that really stood out to me. It stood out to me that Kenny Atkinson finally had a coaching point. Hey, guys, here's one thing we're not doing well.
Yeah.
And they took it seriously because they played great in the third quarter.
Yeah, that was my takeaway, too, amongst others. But the biggest one was there was obviously something going wrong in the third quarters. And you're right, Bull. At the end of the second half, it almost felt like they were...
First half.
First half.
Yeah.
In second quarter. It was like they weren't engaged.
Yeah, it was weird.
And I think they had like an 11-point lead, and it was trimmed to 1 point, I think, at halftime. The Pacers just went on a run, and I thought, wow, so they're starting their third quarter slide 3 minutes early. And then they went into the locker room. You know what I would love to know? I would love to talk to one of the players, maybe even Kenny, because he's so transparent, he might actually tell us, what'd you say?
Yeah.
How did you get their attention? Because whatever he said worked. And what I love most about this team, and there's so many things I love, but I love that Kenny Atkinson is real. He's transparent. He answers questions, even sometimes when it puts him or his team in a critical light. I thought his answer to your question, Mike, after the loss on Sunday was one of the best reporter-coach exchanges I can remember, because the question was great and accurate, but the answer was even better. We're doing something wrong. Maybe it's me. Maybe my halftime speeches suck. I don't know. And then to watch the very next game against the very team that beat them in our building, they completely flipped that script in the third quarter. And I thought, man, there is really, not that we already didn't know it, but there is something about this team that is very unique. It's very special.
Yeah.
And it's fun as hell to watch.
And it's just, I love that they're moving all these games to TNT and ESPN. I love watching them on national TV. It's fun.
Because you hear a different perspective.
Yeah, and Shaq in the pregame show, I'm sorry to sidebar the topic, but, man, he was going on and on about how much he loves the Cavs. And I know this, for us, this is not a big deal because we think it, but Shaq in the pregame show went, oh, the Cavs are the best team in the East. And the other guys were like, really? Not Boston? And he's like, no. Cavs are the best team.
I think he's right.
They, first of all, Indiana's scrappy.
They're a good team.
Nimhard and all these dudes. And
that TJ McConnell.
Obi Toppin is hitting threes now.
Little weasel.
Look, and I knew he was going to go. Listen.
Oh, you'd love him if he's on the Cavs.
Right.
Oh, man.
So he's the new deli for them.
Well, Mike, hit him with your line.
Oh, I said that
TJ
McConnell's the Michael Jordan of Matthew Dellavedovas.
Yeah,
he's the peak level
highest
of
level.
Matthew Dellavedovas.
You're right.
He's
That's
just
a good call.
He's a better Matthew.
I ain't even gonna add nothing to that. That was cold.
although, sorry, this has to be said though, because Matthew Dellavedova, his defensive effort in those postseasons against the Warriors, especially, was like nothing we've ever seen before.
They took him out on a stretcher.
The man almost
in an
died.
To his spots, and he's getting to the rim before it wasn't like he was getting all the way to the basket and he was a little indecisive in what he wants to do. Now when he gets the ball, like I don't know if he went to a dribbling camp of some sort, but he's tap dancing on everybody right now. Like, it don't matter. Like, he's getting the ball. He's getting past people. He's getting to this little floater game. He's finishing it feels like, I don't got the advanced analytics, but it feels like he's finishing at the rim at a really high clip.
I'll find that for you.
And he's you foul him, he's getting to the lane. It looks like he understands exactly what he wants to be, where he wants to do it. He's not in between. He's getting to the basket. He's lobbing. He's doing all those things. And when you got him playing the way you playing, and you got Donovan, who I think Donovan was a little angry. I think he was a little angry. He was a little angry because we was talking about it. People was whispering. You know that's funny with Donovan. If he had 2 games, bad games, shooting games, I don't know Donovan Mitchell. You know what they saying about him in the playoffs. You'd be like, dang, it's 2 games. They go right to his life points. But he came out angry, ready to go. And then to me, and I didn't see it, man. I did not see it. I actually can see it now where people was talking about Evan Mobley and the unicorn stuff. I actually can see in about another offseason, if he want to continue to do what he is doing right now, Jason, and he clean up his ball handling a little bit more, and he's more confident with the shot. Look how efficient that is. 8 to 12, and he got the ball a whole lot in his hands. I think that Evan Mobley could possibly be the best player on the team. And I did not think that was possible with Donovan Mitchell, even on the unicorn status. But if you're going to do this, they run an offense through him, JC. He bringing the ball up. I seen him throw a backdoor pass to Strus the other day. I said, when did you get that in your basket?
G, real quick on the Garland stats. By the way, if you don't have a Cleat in the Glass subscription, highly recommend it. At the rim this season, he's finishing 58% of his shots, which is in just the 35th percentile. It's right on his career average. But the short mid, the floaters, he's at 63%. That's the 100th. So the best 100th percentile in the NBA on those little, not at the rim, but the little floaters, teardrops.
It just seems
rolls.
like them is
He
always
has
going
mastered
in.
that shot.
Them
He
is
really has.
That's
Well,
wild.
last season, to give you comparison, maybe the biggest difference, he was in the 56th percentile last year, was making 44% of those shots. This year, up 19 points, 63%, up 44 spots in percentile in the 100th percentile.
See, that's why that's why we got you with the stats. You just articulated what I was just seeing. I just felt it in my heart. I said, in my heart of hearts, I said, he's making that every time. Shout out to the statistician himself.
Yeah.
Jason, what'd you take? We talked about it in the postgame show last night, but
I like Donovan coming out and asserting himself after a couple bad games. Mike has a package. I think he's going to play tomorrow, right? Are you playing it during the show?
we're going to play tomorrow. Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. On sort of a preview of OKC. I won't give away all the details, but there was some Donovan stuff in there. And Mike and I had a conversation where I thought, I don't know, maybe the knee's bothering him a little bit, or I don't know. And just came out and played really, really well last night. So that was good to see. And G, to your point, I mean, Evan may be the best player on this team as early as next year at the way that he's fast-tracking this now and the way that he's progressing. And, you know, I've said it for years. If they're going to win a championship, he's got to be their best player. I've just the way the league has been built, and maybe that'll eventually change too, as we talk about.
Or at least right there with Donovan.
Right there with right. Like you're not going to get a ribbon. Okay, you're 1 and you're 2.
Right.
But you need to be at that level.
Yeah.
And a guy that you can go to in money time, and a guy who in Game 7 is not afraid of the moment.
That's when I want to see it. I want to see it against interior bigs, and I want to see it against the Bostons and OKCs late and close, and particularly in the playoffs.
I mean, let's see this year. If I would love to see Cavs Celtics postseason series this year. I think everybody would love to see.
Doesn't
that.
it feel like that's a fait accompli?
I mean, we'll have to see how they're
Wouldn't count out the
seated
Knicks completely.
I'm still telling you guys about the Bucks. Like the Bucks are a team with championship pedigree.
Yeah.
They've won a championship and they don't care about the regular season. Just get them to the playoffs, and they've still got Giannis. So there are certainly other teams involved. But I just would love to see a Cavs Celtics postseason series where Porzingis is healthy and Mobley goes at him. And now let's see what you got, kid.
And the Cavs have home court.
And the Cavs, the way they're rolling, they're going to have home court. Yeah.
Mike, what's your takeaway?
Well, you guys mentioned Mitchell, so I'll ignore that. And Darius seems to be okay, whatever he tweaked his knee. But the Cavs zone has become a legitimate weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you look at these
Yes, that was huge.
junky defenses, whether it's a full court press, whether it's zone, and most of the times teams just kind of throw it out there to disrupt the rhythm. It works for a possession or two. Then they kind of get out of it because it's pretty simple to break. But for whatever reason, whether it's Max Strus's influence from Miami, where Spoelstra is the king of the 2-3 zone, and coming here and helping implement it, there have been 3 games I could think of, and there might be more. But Charlotte earlier in the season, the fourth quarter against OKC last week, and then last night against Indiana, where Atkinson has sat in that 2-3 zone for like 3-4 minute stretches and completely disrupted the other team's offense, and it happened last night again. And I think what's the most impressive and dangerous part about this Cavs zone is the size they have on the back line to utilize it. Back when I was playing,
Is that why it's so good?
well, they're doing something different. So when I played, it was a crucial sin if you allowed the pass to the high post. Like the foul line defeats the 2-3 zone. The Cavs are inviting that pass. They want you to make that pass, which goes against every like traditional 2-3 zone principle, because in today's basketball they want you to shoot that 15-foot shot.
Yeah.
They're saying pass it here. We're not even going to really step up. We're just going to have Jared or Evan contest the shot from 3-4 feet back, because if you want to take that shot, so be it.
Yeah,
it's a big man at the high post shooting a mid-range jumper. Like, that's exactly what our defense wants to give
So
up.
they're baiting him, and the teams are taking the bait.
And it's happened 3 times I could think of, and they may have done it more, and I just don't have that recollection of it. But Charlotte played right into what they wanted them to do. OKC played right into what they wanted them to do. And last night, Indiana played right into what they wanted
At
to
some
do.
point, though, teams are going to figure out what you've figured out
Yeah,
and say,
well.
But if
don't take that shot.
But if they're not helping out, where are you kicking the ball
Yeah,
to?
right.
Yeah, well, it's got to be another option.
Exactly. So I'm sure it'll be adjusted, and teams
Yeah.
now there's more film on it.
That's
but
fascinating stuff, though, Mike.
I'm just
They pointed
blown
it out
away.
on the
Yeah,
broadcast.
blown away by it.
They kept talking about that, Mike, on the broadcast last night. The fact that they were forcing them to take those shots, and I think that Indiana missed every time, or almost every time, on those shots. A couple other follow-ups here. We talked about the fact that Evan Mobley, and Mike, you brought this up, that you wanted to see, that you still felt maybe there were times against the best of the best big men that maybe he wasn't as aggressive going to the hole.
That's kind of changed over the last week and a half, too.
Right? Indiana's big guys are pretty good, no?
Yeah, Miles Turner's-
Miles Turner's a good player.
Yeah.
He took, there were
He
a
sent
couple of
Siakam
plays.
to the hospital.
Oh, my God. That he just dunked all over him. That was impressive, and taking it from the top of the key to the basket, really strong. In terms of Darius Garland, one thing we have not pointed out today about Darius Garland is so impressive, amongst the many things that have been impressive about him, is his ability to dribble the ball into the paint and then kick out for the open shot. You see a lot of times guards will get into the paint and maybe they're indecisive. Maybe they thought they were going to be able to lay it up and the shot's not there, and then they get caught up and they turn over the ball. He's so good at penetrating and then kicking out for wide open threes. It's really noticeable to me how good he is at doing that.
And, Mike, the more he makes those penetration shots, the more a threat he is to finish, which means he's going to be attracting more collapse defense, which is going to leave someone open on the perimeter. That's why it's so critical that he is driving and kicking.
He threw a pass yesterday. I tweeted about this. But he drove baseline. If I'm looking at the basket, he was on the right side, right wing, drove baseline, and with the right hand, wrapped the pass around to the left wing.
It was amazing.
The amount of body control, strength, and mind-muscle connection, hand-eye coordination to turn the corner, turn your body, and deliver it. And it hit Karis LeVert right in the hands. LeVert buried the triple. It was basketball sorcery, that kind of pass. And him and Donovan.
Yeah.
Donovan doesn't get enough credit for it either. They're both incredible at that specific asset.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why the Cavs offense has been so good. If you look at the best offenses in basketball right now, 3 of the top 5 in points per game are also 3 of the top 5 in drives and kicks per game. Cavs, Memphis, and Boston.
Stunning to me that
Yeah.
we're talking about definitively the Cavs being one of, if not the best offenses in the
Unquestioned.
NBA. When
Yeah.
last year we would watch them in stretches and say, what are they about?
How are they going to score?
Well, yeah, who's going to get buckets?
Now everybody. What's funny is last night we'd all agree that Donovan and Darius both played great, right?
Sure.
Neither one of them shot well from 3, right, Mike?
No, I'm pretty sure Donovan was 3 of 9. Darius was 2 of 8.
Yeah, they did most of their scoring inside the
In the paint.
3-point line. They
That's-
were both that was the most aggressive I've
That's
seen
a good-
Donovan.
that's a good sign.
That is a good thing. I want to hammer that home.
Yeah.
Is just because you have a bad shooting night does not mean you have to have a bad offensive night.
Right, sure. Stop shooting threes and score other ways.
Get to the basket. Put them in foul trouble. Darius Garland shoots 90% from the free throw line. You put him on the line, them is guaranteed twos. Then guys that are shooting really high percentages like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, when you break down the defense and you can lob to those guys, that's also helping your offense out. So, some nights the three ball isn't going to be there. And I think the Cavs are way too talented to just concede, the threes aren't falling, we're going to lose.
Right.
No, we could beat you in a number of different ways. And so I love the fact that they are getting to the rim and doing certain things to get easier shots if three-point shots aren't falling.
I know another thing that I really liked last night, Mike, and I'm curious because, it feels like with Karis LeVert in the past, it's either been he has a hot shooting night or he's useless. Well, last night, he couldn't hit a bucket at all, and he was far from useless. 7 assists, 5 rebounds. I think he had 2 block shots. He was doing he couldn't score yesterday, but he was a major contributor, I thought, when he was out on the court, even on a night which he wasn't scoring, which is unusual for him.
Is he a plus defender?
He could be.
Because it just seems like he has some...
I wouldn't call him a plus
tools.
defender. I don't think he's a liability necessarily,
Right,
but I don't think he's...
I think defensively it looks like he looks better than this year. Last year sometimes he would just be in the sauce and he'd lose guys.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's playing harder. Maybe it's just the energy level that I see that makes me think that it's one of those things.
I don't know if it's harder. He just hasn't had those, oh my God, Karis LeVert, what the hell are you doing? kind of games.
Right.
That's true.
Mike,
I know we're going to talk about Tommy Rees in a second, but I want to ask a question of the guys and you that I had a conversation with some fans yesterday about this, and I'm curious to get your thoughts. And I was surprised at my answer. Someone said, this team is more fun than the 16 Cavs. And we discussed, how would this team do against the 16 Cavs? And I found myself, I wasn't able to go against that comment. And here's why. 2016, we were supposed to be good. Even though we knew the Warriors were lurking in the West, we knew that we were a finals caliber team and that if things fell our way, that could be a championship season. And at the end of the conversation, I was like, you know what? This team is more fun than the 16 Cavs. I'm having more fun watching this team than I did watching the 16 Cavs in the regular season. Are you guys?
I'm dead inside.
Yeah. In the regular season, yes. Ultimately, if they don't win a championship.
No, yeah, that's to be judged at the end of the year.
I have thoughts on this at the end. Go ahead.
And we talked about this the other day. This team would not beat the 16 team.
No, I don't think
they would not. But they're more fun because there's no way we expected them to be this good. And it's just it's a more pleasing style of basketball than the 16 team play. Nothing could be more fun than the finals that year. That was unbelievable.
So over
unless they sweep this year.
As the Browns became trash, I got in my YouTube time machine, and so I just started watching highlights of the Cavs teams, like the 2-hour highlights, House of Hoops highlights, where it's like. You watch, they're like 2 hours worth of just season clips. So I went back from the time LeBron came back. And I started to watch, and I look, matter of fact, guys, you got to, don't throw away those teams before 14.
No.
Go back and watch the 08, 09 Cavs. Those teams were fun to watch and everything too. But when you go back and look at the 16 Cavs specifically, it was a different electricity. It was almost like the Beatles. Like when Kyrie was doing what he was doing, he had a highlighted night. LeBron James had multiple highlights every single night. Like it was just like when they would get into that role and that mode of, oh yeah, we doing our thing, and they was tap dancing at the same time. You got two of the best ISO players of all time, and LeBron used to just be like, and people would be wide open. J.R. Smith, one of the most difficult shot makers. I mean, there's people all over. J.R. Smith is hitting that. And it's like when you start to watch him, and especially when you get to the playoffs, it was unfair because LeBron and Kyrie was on a different level. But I can't say that this person that you're talking to is wrong because it's a preference thing.
Yeah, of course.
If you like ISO, that's the highest level of ISO ball you ever gonna see. But if you like ball movement and you like player movement and you like balanced play and you like people moving around and doing the thing in a well-balanced team, the Cavs do everything well. They pass, they can shoot, they cut, they play defense well. There's not a flaw in their game plan. I think it comes to a preference thing. And I think a lot of people saw the ISO ball a long time. We ain't seen this.
No, not
so
like this.
when you ain't seen this, it becomes a little more appealing.
Yeah. And part of it is prisoner of the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And part of
Yeah.
it is, let's face it, there's more likable guys on this team than that team.
Well, that's where I was going to go.
That's part of
I
this.
think if people enjoy watching this team better than 2016, it's because, number one, there's no drama.
Yeah.
LeBron, I love the guy. LeBron brings drama. And it's high theater. And they fired their coach in 2016,
Yeah,
guys.
no, they did.
They fired their coach. That's
right.
In first place. And it was the right decision.
Oh, yeah.
When it happened, I said, well, it's about time. What took you so long? And, think about that. First place team. I think they were in first.
Yes, they were.
And they fired their coach. So there was always drama with LeBron. And now, I always said that he ran up the bill from October to April, and then in May and June, he writes the check every time.
Yeah.
Every time he makes it all worth it. But all season long, there's always this drama involved with him. And there's none of that with this team. And there's another factor in this, that team skipped steps. That team went from really bad to championship contender like that.
In a year.
because
And
of
that's
LeBron.
not- because
In 1
LeBron.
year.
And it's not supposed to happen that way in the
No.
NBA. It's supposed to be
A progression.
a slow build.
Yeah.
And the only other team, I guess, Boston did that when they brought their big three together back in the day with
Yep.
Garnett and that. They sort of flipped it quick. But, again, the Cavs fired their coach and fired their GM because the rebuild looks like it's off track and it looks like it's a disaster. And then LeBron comes back anyway, and now you make the trade for Kevin Love. Kyrie signs his max, and you went from not even being a playoff team to having a big three like that.
Yeah.
And so fans were not allowed to organically grow
No,
with the
yeah,
team.
that's
It
true.
just went from bad to really, really good, and now we're going to win champion. And there was no progression to it.
Yeah.
Where with this team, there has been a very natural progression from horrifically bad and the coach running out of the building halfway through his first season to, okay, not so bad. Okay, here comes Jared Allen. Hey, they're a playing team. Hey, they made the playoffs, lost in the first round in New York. Man, these guys suck. To, hey, well, they won a playoff series, and now look at where they're at.
Yeah.
So you went through the natural honeymoon phases with this team. You got mad at this team. There was all these different things, and they've been together for a number of years now. So you feel like you know these guys now. Whereas some of that 16 team, they were thrown together, and the JR trade came and the Shump trade, and Kevin showed up, and Kevin's staring at the carpet the whole time, and he doesn't want to talk to anyone, and everyone's being mean to Kevin. And
Kyrie's his own miserable self.
Kyrie is on Mars and he's not talking to anyone. So there was, believe me, I lived it every single day. There was so much drama.
So is this more fun? Like you're on the inside.
I'm not there every day.
No, I know,
like
but what
was.
I'd love to hear. I wish
Still
maybe
coffee.
you can do a piece, Jay, where you talk to employees of the organization.
Oh, I guarantee you this is more
that were
enjoyable.
here in 16 and that are
Guarantee you.
still here, and
Yeah.
have them tell with truth serum, compare the mood and the aura around this group compared to 16.
They got to finish the job.
They do have to finish
Yes.
the job,
Yeah.
but do
And it doesn't matter. Life instantly changed. Like the plane landed, it was like I walked into a whole new world. But Griff was in his office at the facility, and he was in jeans and flip flops, and he had the TV on in the background, and he was just finishing up last minute things. He was getting ready to fly out to Vegas for Summer League, and Rich called him. Or no, sorry, I think Nate called him, Dan's partner. Rich had called Nate, I think, and I think Nate called Griff and said something to the effect of, "The King's coming home, baby," or something like that.
Wow.
And Griff said, "I just dropped to my knees in my office in like joy and jubilation," but then instantly it changed to this, "Oh my God, we've got to win." And just the pressure that came with that. There was pressure.
Yeah.
Every
Right
and there's
now.
pressure
single
all the
day.
time, and there's pressure with this team, but not like that.
Not
Anywhere
like
near
that.
that.
That
Not
was
like that.
because you're right. Had he played as long as he did in Cleveland and won championships in Miami and LA, but never won here, what a stain on anyone's
Absolutely.
resume who was associated with that.
So for anyone in the organization, this is much more enjoyable.
yeah,
I believe.
Okay,
Last thing, real quick.
sure.
One other reason why I think this is more fun. When LeBron was here everybody's in Cleveland is very uptight about how they're perceived nationally. They're very self-conscious. Everybody's very self-conscious about that in Cleveland. When LeBron was here and they were doing great, it wasn't about the Cavs. It was about LeBron.
Yes,
Right?
that's true.
Now it's about the Cavs.
You're right.
Yes, Donovan Mitchell's the best, but it's not about, Donovan Mitchell's the headliner, but it's about the Cavs. People are talking about the Cavs, not one player.
Right.
It's a good point, Bull. Yeah. All right, we're going to move on. We got a game at the end of the show that we're definitely going to get in, so let's get our next two topics in here. Before we dive into that, a quick word from Game Time. If you want to go to live events, Game Time is the only place you should be using to buy your tickets online. And what's the get-in price on Game Time right now for the national championship game?
Cheapest ticket is in section 301, row 14, for $1,291.
Oh, my.
$1,300 to get into the Ohio State
Wow.
Notre Dame game. If you use Game Time, you can get a discount to make that a little more palatable, especially if you use the Game Time Picks feature. The feature filters out fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have the time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
The Browns promoted tight ends coach Tommy Rees to offensive coordinator. They made it officially official during our last topic where they actually tweeted out and sent the release. Guys, thoughts on the hire, and is it the right move to promote a man within the staff of an offense that just finished in the bottom 3, 4, 5?
You can't
in
pay
every
attention.
That's
caliber
irrelevant.
category?
I think that's irrelevant. He's the tight ends coach.
It's not
Like,
Tommy
how-
Rees's fault.
Yeah,
that
but it's not his fault that
Deshaun can't count to 8.
If
on
anything,
his depth.
you'd blame the head coach, who you're keeping anyway. So what's the point of saying, well, it's bad because of the tight end coach? Tommy Rees is clearly highly thought of. I spoke to Mary Kay. I interviewed her this morning for my podcast, and she was saying that, she was made the point of, and she's right, North Carolina was talking to Tommy Rees for their head coaching job before Belichick.
Yep.
And that apparently, oh my God, I just forgot his name. The Patriots' new head coach. Vrabel, thank you. Wanted to hire Tommy Rees as his OC. So obviously they see something here. Plus, it signals to me that Kevin Stefanski's going back to calling plays.
This was a big get Rees on staff last year. If you go back to last year, he's a hot name in coaching circles, both in college and the NFL. And say what you want about, I don't know if he's any good or not. We're going to find out. But I'm just telling you, there's a lot of people who are after this guy. And I said, just before the season was over, they need to fire Dorsey and promote Tommy Rees to be the OC. I said that on the show. Because if they didn't promote him, they were going to lose him. He was going to get a job elsewhere, whether it's a head coach in college or on Vrabel's staff. I wondered if they may lose him anyway to Vrabel's staff because he'd have the opportunity to call plays there. And I agree with you, Bull. I think this is a signal that Kevin was going to call plays. I don't think they're going to give him that responsibility. He's still really young.
Yeah, but wouldn't the Browns have to give him permission because it's not a promotion?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the choice. I would think it's his. Well, he's still under contract. So I don't know how that would work, but
Well,
yeah, I mean,
it's a lateral move, so the Browns could just
well
deny
now
permission.
Now it is because they've
yeah.
made
Right.
it.
I'm
I
saying
thought you
prior
said
to.
that you're still concerned that.
No.
The
Prior
Patriots
to
could-
Prior
to
Oh,
this,
okay.
I thought he may want to leave anyway.
Yeah, I
to
think
go.
I think he could have had his pick of
Sure.
a number of jobs.
Yeah, and so he's highly thought of. He was a big name when they got him last year. It was an impressive hire when he came here because of how respected he is. Obviously, he's got the pedigree, and now we'll see. They I won't say they lost, but Drew Petzing was the quarterback's coach here and went to Arizona and is having great success running Kevin's offense out there in Arizona, and it's basically the offense that he brought from here. And so the Browns, rather than lose another young coach that they really like, this was the only move for them to make. If they wanted to keep him, this is what they had to
I
do.
mean, they're going to draft Jalen Milroe now?
I don't think it has anything to do with it.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, let me get to my conspiracy theory. Thank you, Bull, for setting me up for that. Set you up, set me up, set you up to pass you the ball. You gave it back to me. Now, here's the thing. We just sat here and heard how Tommy Rees was well thought of in the NFL and all around college circles, and his name is a hot name. And my thing is, if you go with a defensive coach and Mike Vrabel, you're gonna, chances are you're gonna call plays. You can call plays. You can get an opportunity to do that. But here's the difference. You see, why would you pass up calling plays for Drake May? Why would you pass up that in New England when you got that infrastructure already? They had to tell him something. They had to offer him something. So if you say, all right, well, Kevin Stefanski, which we all agree, this just means Kevin Stefanski called the plays. This is his offense. This is what they're going to do. I think they go into the interview. Tommy Rees says, well, look, what's in it for me, man? I can go down here, call plays, do my thing. He said, you're not going to get the credit for it. You ain't going to get the credit for it this year. But what I do want you to do is I want you to work with this young quarterback because we drafting a quarterback.
Yeah.
And you might not get credit for it, but he's going to be under your tutelage. He's going to be under what you are trying to do. You're going to work on this. We're going to draft a bridge quarterback, but we're going to draft a quarterback, and we're going to do it high. And what you're going to do is you're going to have an opportunity to mold and shape this young dude. And you're going to be the guy that gets his confidence together, coaches him up, and then when he is ready to play, after next year, we will turn over the play calling to you, and now you two go off and run. And now it sets them up in the correct way. Now you got a young OC that is lock, stock, and barrel attached at the hip with a young quarterback. You get a bridge quarterback in which Kevin Stefanski says, I get the best out of the bridge quarterbacks. Don't worry about it. I get the best out of these old guys. And then when you guys are ready to go, that next year, and we're going to do it the right way this time, you're going to be able to call plays. Y'all can be creative together. You guys are going to be awesome. So I think this signifies, if you tell me that, and I get to put my mold and my shape and my influence on a young guy that I think they're identifying at this point, that's something that as a young coordinator I would sit on and wait for and be excited about because I think that is what the plan is.
I agree with everything you guys said. I think they got this right. I think Tommy Rees is in the mold of, and you hate to compare him to anybody, but when you just look at his pedigree and his age, it's a little Sean McVay. Mm-hmm. It's a little Kyle Shanahan. It's the trend in the NFL right now. There has to be some pedigree there, and with those guys, there was pedigree. He played the position at a very high level. He's still, I think, third on the all-time Notre Dame quarterback touchdown passing list.
He's on Brian Kelly, right?
That's pretty impressive. And then he immediately becomes a grad assistant at Northwestern. And then from there, it's back to Notre Dame and Alabama. He's a blue blooder. And I think he philosophically is on the same page as Kevin Stefanski. I don't know if you've poked around. I would hope that Stefanski was really pushing for Rees. And
this is the Kevin
his
call.
guy.
This
it
is
felt like it to
yes.
me.
Yes.
And I just think that this is a critical position. Whether he calls the plays now or not, this is a very critical spot. And I think they can check the box that they got this one right. So moving forward, let's see what he can do. I'm with you, Bull. I think that this does signal that Kevin Stefanski is going to call plays again, at least next year, and then see where it goes.
Yeah, maybe
I'm okay
he
with
hands
that.
it off to him after a year.
Maybe after a year
we'll
he
see.
does. That's right. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about Tommy Rees as an NFL head coach in a number of years. I mean, it feels like his trajectory.
Sure, yeah.
He's 32 years old. He's the youngest OC in the league. And with those other guys like McVay and some of these young coordinators that had success, they get a crack, and they get a crack at it early. And I think he's certainly on pace to do that.
And if they get a young quarterback and that young quarterback plays well, even if he don't call plays, and he's the quarterback coach, somebody might try to fast track him in. Like, hold on, let's get ahead of this learning curve here.
There have been more desperate moves made in the NFL.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to our next topic here. It's brought to us by Rocket Money. Did you use Rocket Money ever to help you find subscriptions you forgot you were paying for, maybe even paying for twice? It's happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place. Whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year, Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That is rocketmoney.com/lockedon, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. So we discussed yesterday the possibility of Deion Sanders going to Dallas and what the implications of that could potentially mean if it were to happen for Dak Prescott. And anytime we mention Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders, we get a ton of tweets like this. Steve, take tag board full. This one comes from Lee, who tweeted at myself, G. Bush, and Bull yesterday. in relation to a clip on UCSS about Shedeur Sanders. Lee says, why are we doing this? I've even noticed on UCSS that this has been a conversation. Why is it when we know that Cleveland is not a destination, coupled with the fact that Deion will stand in the way of this happening? This is just one of the many tweets we get anytime Shedeur comes up. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you buy the rumors, and it's strictly just rumors? There's no reporting. Deion has said it's not even true, but do you buy some of the online speculation and rumors that Deion would potentially stop Shedeur from going to a certain place, and in this instance, Cleveland, considering they had the number 2 pick? Would Deion put an end to that?
The one thing I'd point out about that, when he was refuting those, when he was refuting the reports that he was going to stand in his way from going to the Giants or the Browns or wherever it was, he was still the coach, solidly the coach at Colorado, and there was no talk that he was going to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Correct.
Someone told me that knows Deion that when he first started down this coaching road, he had 2 jobs in mind, Florida State and the Dallas Cowboys. Well, I think the Dallas Cowboys is clearly within his grasp now. And we know that Deion wants his children around him. When he went to Colorado, obviously he brought his kids with him. So I wonder if he was held to truth serum right now, would he say that he's not going to behind the scenes manipulate some things to try to, if he becomes the Cowboys coach, he wants Shedeur as the Cowboys quarterback?
It's 2 different conversations.
It is 2 different conversations.
Whether Deion gets a job obviously it's more likely he'll try to stop it if he gets a job with Dallas. But if he doesn't take an NFL job, I think I've said, I don't think Deion's going to let him play here, but who knows? That's probably unfair to say. There's certainly a chance. The reality is the Eli Manning situation, or John Elway going to play baseball. Those things are very rare. Now, this may be one of those cases. Obviously, the kid doesn't need the money, so Deion could play a role there. But I think when we're trying to decide, should the Browns draft him, ultimately they'll have that information before they would make that pick.
Right.
And if they learn that's not the case, well, then obviously you have to seriously consider him. And I don't think the Browns should not consider Shedeur Sanders just because Deion's his dad. I think that's stupid.
It's too like the conversation around it, and I've said before, oh man, come on, man, Prime Man, what's the name, come here. I think when you say that, it's too surface level. So let's get to the real. Like, when these things happen, and you are a player that is looked at as going to be the face of a franchise, these guys sit down in meetings. You get to know a person face to face. You talk to them about your who you are as a person, what your family goals are, what you are. And coaches and general managers talk to them who they are as a man, as a person. And these people all sit down and have conversations about life, what they view you as a player, and what it is that we're trying to do as an organization. So those conversations are all things that are yet to be had. They haven't even got to the pro days and stuff. So a lot of stuff Coach Prime say is he's a showman. He is where he is today because he is able to inspire people to get them to do things. He went from an HBCU to a Power 5 school. You don't do that.
And turn the program around at a Power 5.
Yes. You don't do that by being meek or shy or timid. You got to have bold visions, bold statements to get people to act, to get to that place. Like we said, he fast-tracked that in 2 years. And to be honest with you, he fast-tracked his son in 2 years. He went from Jackson State to, he's going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. And he was right. And now he's the top 5 pick. So some of it, what he's saying, he's a showman. He's going to say that. But let's not get it twisted. These negotiations and these things that are going to happen within the next 2 or 3 months, that's going to be where you figure out who wants to do what and how you're going to move. I think that's Shedeur Sanders. If he's the guy that they want and the Cleveland Browns want to go do what they want to do and that they're going to draft him, they're not going to be worried about whether or not Deion is going to be like, oh, he's not playing here. Because guess what? They're going to have conversations with Deion, just like they had with Myles Garrett, who came away saying, we're closer than we thought. You see how those conversations tend to work a little bit.
Yeah, well, certainly if he's parroting that line, he believes that line. he didn't come out and say they didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. He came out and said, well, after further inspection, we're not as far away as I thought.
Yes.
Okay,
We'll have
that can be debated till the cows come home,
Yeah.
and it probably will be and should be.
Or was that the new contract coming up? That new big
maybe,
boy?
maybe.
I'd say so.
Jay, I have
We'll
a
save
question
that
for
another
you.
day.
In the modern day NFL,
Yeah.
and things have changed since Eli
Yeah.
made the power play to not go to the Chargers. There's also another thing that's changed, and that's that the NIL money, he's already a millionaire.
Right.
He's rich.
Where, in the old days, these guys were poverty-stricken. They hadn't been paid yet. I wonder if that changes it. And I also wonder if Deion Sanders was to become the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's almost impossible for him to, behind the scenes, work it out to where he gets to draft his son. They'd have to move on from Dak at a huge number.
No,
at
they
a
wouldn't
time
have
when,
to move on. Why?
Why wouldn't they?
Well, they'd move
They keep him
because
as a,
you'd keep Dak for 1 year and then you'd move on.
Well, eventually you're moving on from Dak if you're
Right.
if you're drafting the coach's son,
right, but
at number 1, 2, 3, or 4.
yeah, but they can't move on from Dak next year. They would.
That's the
move year
reality
after.
of it,
Yeah.
Bull. But also the writing is on the wall. That
Yeah. Yes. Eventually, yeah.
So I'm wondering, could he even power play himself into that situation?
To get Shedeur to Dallas?
Yes.
I don't think at 12. I mean, at 12, you're probably going to have to move up. I think we all agree on that. Whether
Yeah.
it's 2 or I don't know. I don't know if these quarterbacks are going to go 1, 2 or not. I don't know, but certainly Dallas is going to have to get higher than 12 probably if they want to get there. And you lose a lot of leverage if everyone knows what you're trying to do.
That's true.
But Deion already answered this question 7 years ago.
Take tag board full, Steve. That was a good setup, Jason. Deion said, I love what the Browns have done this offseason, but if I'm a young quarterback, ain't no way I'm going to Cleveland. I would pull an Eli Manning if possible.
Now, that was-
think about that. Hashtag truth.
That was in March of 2018 that he sent that. What has changed in the last 7 years to make you think that?
Nothing.
Nothing's
If
changed.
anything, it's gotten worse.
It's gotten worse in terms of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So now, can he fully stop it? I don't know. Does he want him in Cleveland? No, I don't think he wants him in
Let's go to
Cleveland.
the first question. Is he going to end up as the Cowboys coach?
I say no.
I
I don't know why he would take that
Probably
job.
not.
If
Well, he's expressed interest.
It doesn't make sense.
He said he was-
But Jerry Jones is the does everything there. You don't have any power as head coach
It's
there.
funny. Sometimes the media tries to talk things into existence.
Yeah.
I've been watching ESPN's coverage the last couple days of this story.
Yeah.
They are breaking their backs
don't negotiate
to
the deal.
try to make this happen.
Yes, of course.
They
Oh,
are
yeah.
trying to talk this into existence from the first time the conversation was had on ESPN after McCarthy was, the mutual parting of ways.
Yeah.
From the first analyst that said, Deion would be a fit, and the pushback was, oh, no way, he can't go there. It'd be a 3-ring circus.
Yeah.
To now, everybody is saying this would be the greatest move in the history of coaching moves. Is there ever been a situation more tailor-made for Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders? I can make the argument there is no worse combination as those two. But in a weird way, I can also make an argument that this might be the one guy that Jerry respects enough that he says, it's all yours, kid. You don't think he can do that?
No.
He's 82?
Doesn't matter.
You don't think he
came
can do
out
that?
and said, I bought the team so I could be the GM. I'm the GM. I'll always be the GM.
That was the case 25 years ago.
That was the case 2 days ago.
But
He just said it a week ago.
But if he has the chance to get Deion,
Yeah.
and Deion tells him, I'll come, but Jerry, you're not allowed in the building.
I think Deion could be a great head coach.
I do too.
But he doesn't have the background to be a GM too. Like, how could you turn over full control of the organization?
No, you're not going to give it to him. The football stuff is Deion. The on-the-field football stuff is Deion. We're going to bring in a top
Never gonna
name
happen.
general manager. You don't
Never
think so?
gonna happen. Not with Jerry.
Well, then I don't think this. I think this would fail at a George Steinbrenner, Billy
big time.
Martin level of spectacular.
By the way,
fail.
though, quickly sidebar shout out to Jerry Jones, who was on an episode of Landman, a new show on Paramount.
show
Plus,
is
which
great.
phenomenal.
And
The
he
show
was-
is phenomenal.
Have you seen the episode with him?
I saw the whole thing.
He was
yeah.
great.
He was great.
He's a better actor than he is a GM.
Yeah, he was great.
Bill Simmons
Isn't saying much, Bull.
This is all for nothing.
Asia Wilson, by the way, terrible actress in those commercials on yesterday during the Cavs game. She's awful.
I didn't see that.
But
I think this is all for nothing. I actually think that Shedeur Sanders is going to go number 1. And I think we're talking about it's the Cam Ward. I don't think, and this is just me. If they're close and you're the Titans, which is more exciting?
Well, there's no question. Shedeur is going to bring more.
Shedeur Sanders, and I'm not saying they're just doing it to do it, but Shedeur Sanders gets you how many primetime games?
Well, I can tell you this: ESPN automatically hires a full-time Titans reporter.
And
they're leading every NFL show.
And they've been an irrelevant
what's
franchise.
going on with Shedeur in Tennessee?
They are not. I think he goes number 1. Even if it's close skill set wise, he's going number 1. The Browns have to choose between Cam Ward or the best defensive player. I don't think he'll be there. And this is just how quickly things change, because I think the Shedeur conversation has even ramped up even more. Like, it was like, oh, he's not that good. Then people was like, I might take him in the top 2. Then it's like, he might be the number 1 pick. I think Tennessee takes him.
In terms of the original question, I do believe Deion would do what he could to keep it from happening. It happens all the time where agents tell teams in all sports, don't take it happened with the Cavs and Evan Mobley.
And they still take him.
Mobley's rep said, don't take him. And they took him, and look, and it's fine, and he just signed a massive extension, and he's playing the best ball of his career. So, and there have been other instances where it's worked, and Eli Manning is a great example of, he said, I ain't playing for you. You can take me if you want, but I'm sitting like I am not playing. And certainly, maybe the Manning name and the Deion name is enough juice to actually make that happen. I don't know. But if you give Deion a list of teams where Shedeur could play, you think Cleveland's in the top 5?
No.
There ain't
Absolutely
no
not.
chance. There's
No,
no
But
chance.
what's funny is all the teams that need quarterbacks are not great situations.
At all.
No, they never are.
Yeah.
They're picking first for a reason.
And
they suck.
I will say this, though. There is something, maybe y'all out there like me with certain things like this. It's something to be said for somebody who comes to you, and even if they was horrible before, or even if the job ain't perfect, or even if it ain't the greatest of circumstances, you heard things. It's different when a person come to you and say, hey, we need you.
You never know.
You start to think no. Deshaun Watson want you. I'll tell you why Deshaun Watson want you, and here's what we're going to do with you. This is why we.
Yeah.
And for Kevin Stefanski, he'll have a lot of pull, because he can literally say, there was Baker here. I didn't choose Baker. There was Deshaun here. It was an organizational decision, but I'm choosing. Here's what I see for you.
Yeah, that could have some real meaning.
It has some meaning. And by the way, when you fall in love with something, you already heard you can't help who you fall in love with. Try telling a dude you can't marry somebody.
Oh, I know. You were told that. What'd you do?
Try telling your daughter she's not marrying that guy.
You might as well plan the wedding right then and
right there.
there.
Listen.
So let's rubber meet the road.
That, so.
Let's rubber meet the road. This. We'll go around the horn. We'll do it quickly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You drafted him, Shedeur Sanders.
Yes.
If he's there,
You drafted him.
If I think he's the best guy available, yeah.
yeah. If he's there and we need a quarterback and they like him, the scouts pan out, I'll take him.
So imagine 20 years ago, somebody could have said, in 20 years, one of the greatest athletes ever to play this sport is going to have a son who appears to have a high degree of athleticism and has succeeded at the most important position in the sport at a high level. I think if you didn't know that player's name was Deion Sanders, you would say, well, yeah, I want him. And I think I find myself saying, I don't want the Deion drama, but I want to see what this kid can do. And I think it's incredibly intriguing. And his what is working right now in the NFL? Lamar Jackson is working.
Yep.
Josh Allen is working.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels is working.
Yep.
And on
Bo
and
Nix
on
work.
and on. And can he run? Check.
Yep.
Can he throw? Check. Is he an athlete? Check. He's got pedigree. I think
And he had
he's
no
smart.
talent around him in college except for Hunter.
Right. I think this might be one of those moves where if you don't take him, 3 years down the road, we're Josh Allening this all over again. Say, well, we could have taken him, but we didn't because we were afraid of his dad, and now look at him. He's the second coming of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So give it a shot. We failed spectacularly in the past. If it happens again, It happens
Hey,
again.
Kev, it's on you, bro. Whatever you want to do,
go.
dog. Whatever you want to do. Make it work.
All right, let's do this game, man.
We are going to play this game. I'm very excited for this game. Anthony's out in position. Guys, we did an Ultimate Cavs post-game show after the game against Indiana. We're also going to do a post-game show after tomorrow night's game against Oklahoma City. So make sure you guys tune in after the nationally televised 7:30 tip-off between the Cavs and the Thunder. So make sure y'all tune into that. All right, game time.
Are they
It's a
doing
very
super chats?
simple
No?
game. What do you say, Jason?
I think they're doing super chats and then the game.
Yeah, we're going to super at the end. Because
Oh,
we have
all right.
we only had one a second ago, and after Shedeur we have like 15. So
Oh,
we're gonna get to
okay.
the game.
Guy
This game
moves
is
the
very
meter.
simple. The premise is very simple. It's called Name That Dude.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a picture of a Cleveland athlete from the 21st century.
Oh, I'm so scared.
And you
my
have to,
God.
very simply, name that dude. There are
Just
Cavs.
scream it out.
There are guards. There are Browns. Anthony is our official Jeopardy scorer.
Do we have
You
buzzers?
raise your hand. Do not yell out. Anthony will call on whoever raises their hand first. If you get it right, point for you. If the person who raises their hand first gets it wrong, then we'll raise our hands again, and we can.
Do you get a
play it
point
like
taken
that.
away for a wrong guess?
Let's make the decision. Do we want a point taken away for a
yeah,
wrong
it's got to be
decision?
Yes,
punitive.
yes.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm just shouting
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
So, Ant, are you fully aware? You don't have a mic, so give me
Jerry
a thumbs up. Are you
Demzinski.
fully aware of your duties here?
Yes, his thumb is up.
And the chat, please play along. I'm actually got my money on someone in the chat's going to beat you guys. So we have a bunch of these.
Are we going into negatives?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're going to go negative.
Go in the negatives. Yep.
Hey, Anthony's going to struggle with the scoring. I see this already.
Oh,
Plus one, minus
Anthony
one.
get
Can't
ugly.
County.
Plus one,
Going to get
minus
very
one.
ugly.
He fixed the monitors. He's on a roll.
True, he
did.
did. It's his
All
day.
right, so are you guys ready for the first edition of Name That Dude,
Yeah.
21st Century Cleveland Athlete Edition?
table.
Steve, take the first picture. Name that dude.
Oh,
Can't even see his face.
Braylon Edwards.
Incorrect.
No,
Oh, it's 47.
that's Lawrence Vickers.
I thought it was 17.
Correct.
Oh, my God.
did I not get
It is Lawrence Vickers.
I thought it was
G-Bush.
17.
Could barely see his number.
G-Bush is going to mop up
I'm
at
going to be
this.
terrible at this
Because
game.
he lives
I
in
never
the
know
YouTube
anybody's
time
number.
Time machine.
I thought we were going to see faces.
Some are faces, some are numbers.
Oh, man,
The
I couldn't see the
inaugural
number.
Name That Dude was Lawrence Vickers, played in the 2006 Browns.
I know about
that's,
that.
if that's where
No,
we're
not
going with
2000.
this.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Next Cleveland athlete. Name this dude. Go.
Leon Park.
I had you on
Yeah,
that.
it's got-
My hand was up first.
Jason was first. Yeah, I know.
I'm the official. I saw you first.
Whatever.
we almost need a.
Not gonna lie, I
an
saw
instant
Jason
replay.
first.
Hey, put my big body over here. You ain't see nothing.
Yeah.
All right,
was
next
that?
up,
Leon Poe.
third official Name That Dude. Who is this?
I can't even see that.
See it.
Oh, Grady Sizemore.
It's not Grady Sizemore.
No, God, kind of looks like
Travis
Grady.
Hafner, right?
It is
No,
not Travis
definitely
Hafner.
not Travis Hafner. Oh. Can I guess again?
Yes.
Oh, God, now I can see it better. You got to put those.
Utility infielder, I want to
We'll
say.
make him full screen now.
I don't know who
Tick,
that is.
tick, tick.
I'm not
tick,
sure who it
tick.
is.
Yeah,
I'm looking
cool.
in the chat. Has anyone in the chat
Obviously,
got
it's
this
not
yet?
Hafner now that I can see the picture.
Someone has gotten this. Digman Freud in the chat got it. He beat you. It is Ben Broussard.
Oh, my God.
2004.
I've never got
I
that.
know Ben Broussard, but
You know what should have gave it away? No batting gloves.
You already know you bat 214 when
Ben
I
does
should
not
be
look-
zero, but you can't see.
Damn.
I was
know.
He was looking
No, I
down
thought it was
and then
Grady
looked up.
Sizemore. I'm blind.
How many minuses did you give away on that?
I got -1.
Just me and Jay.
Yeah, I didn't see.
All right. Next up, number 4. Steve, take it full. Don't put anyone on the screen. Who is this dude?
Oh my God, that's
no clue.
oh.
Y'all supposed to be cleaning up right now. Y'all supposed to be eating.
This is a
remember
picture
guys
from
by face.
2022.
You
He's
supposed
been
to
on
be
the
eating.
Guardians since the show's been alive.
What?
Still on the Guardian?
Oh, I know.
Jason?
Oh, God.
Jason got the
Oh,
mariachi.
Lord Jesus, come to me. Oh,
Can't think of it.
it's
the initials.
Francona loved this guy.
Gotta raise
Jason, this is going to drive you crazy.
Oh, God, I know it. I know
Hey,
it.
do we have a ticket?
No, you don't.
He was the
If
new.
it's in the chat, if the chat gets it, I got to end it.
He was the new Andrew Miller-esque. They tried him as a starter.
Got
Changed
it.
the
It's over.
reliever.
Brace Dillinger got it. It is Connor Pilkington.
Oh, my God.
That's not who I thought it was.
Yeah, look. Hey.
That's not who I thought it was.
What do you make, like 3 starts?
We actually went when UCSS got the suite for the very first time we went out there.
Was he starting?
Connor Pilkington.
Ah,
started
that's
that game.
awesome.
Wow.
All right, next up. Shout out to the chat. They have gotten 2 that you have not gotten. Next up, Steve, let's take it. Who is this?
Oh boy.
I don't know.
I have a guess, but I don't want to go in the negative again.
No numbers.
Oh,
I don't want to go in the negative.
I
I don't know if I can't. I can't
From the
risk it.
this picture's from 2001.
See, I was gone.
Jason? Or no,
Is it
Bull?
Jamal Lewis?
It is
No.
not Jamal Lewis.
no,
I don't know numbers.
I'm not doing that.
YOLO. Ben Gay.
No,
Oh, Ben Gay. That's a
Nope.
good guess though.
that's a minus.
I'm minus 20.
It's
Minus
a running.
2.
I mean, he's a running back,
No, I want no
or
parts
he's
of
a
this.
defensive
Oh!
back.
It's one guess, G. The chat has gotten this. Barry Moore got this correct.
Was this the running back from Miami?
You said once the chat gets it.
Pernell
it's
Jackson got it right too. It is James Jackson.
Yep.
James Jackson.
Yeah.
People, the fans are good.
Who was the
They're
running
good.
back from Miami Miami, Ohio, that they had?
Travis Prentice.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Right.
Chat's beating you guys. Next
Killing
up,
us.
Jason, this one should be up your
They
alley.
do have resources. Though,
Who is
yeah.
this dude?
Oh, God.
hold on.
Oh, God.
My God.
University of Oregon, Luke Jackson.
Yes.
Bingo.
good
I knew it was
boy.
Luke. I knew it was Luke. I couldn't think of his last name.
Jason's setting the record for most excuses in this.
Oh, man.
This game is going exactly how I hoped. The look of struggle on all your guys' faces.
It's
trying to-
painful.
It's just.
This is terrible.
That was
kinda
before I started
sad.
covering him.
All right. Next up, name this dude.
Oh, Charlie Hewlett.
Bingo.
Yep.
And
There you go.
Yes.
You on one.
Back to -1.
Yeah, -1, baby.
You on the board. You
I
on
just
the
want to get
board.
back to 0.
All right. Next up, we got 30 of these, so we can go as long as we want.
Wow.
God.
Oh, wow.
Next up, name this dude.
Oh! Ramon Sessions.
There you go.
Bingo. Jason's on the board.
God.
Jason, congratulations.
Yeah!
God,
Anthony,
the
what is the
irrelevant guys
score?
that we've had.
They got a
What's the score,
first-round pick for
We
him.
got -1 for Bull, -1 for Jason, 3 for G, -1 for Jay.
All right.
Commanding lead so far. All right, next one's a baseball player. Guys, name that dude.
These baseball dudes is tough. They got them all shaved. There's no distinctive body markings.
I thought these were going to be
These are
mugshots.
raw
I know.
cadavers.
These are some oh, that's.
3 times.
These are cadavers.
And some of these dudes, bro, some of these dudes were
Cup of
here for
coffee.
like a tick.
Hey, the chat got it. 3 people in the chat have got
Who
it.
was
Mark
it?
Solsick, Mad Greek
Oh, my
216.
God.
It is Rafael Betancourt.
Really?
That is Rafael Betancourt.
He was
Look
here when
like
they was named the
Betancourt.
Indians.
Yeah, well,
2006.
He was their closer for a minute.
I remember him, but I don't remember him by face.
no, that's the
Man.
tough part. You
Yeah.
look at these faces and you're like,
Hey, good job. I think the fans
especially if it's a
Fans are
I mean,
dominating.
I'm sure some of the fans are cheating.
But how, I mean, I
yeah, but
can't
that's
cheat
awfully
on that.
quick.
It's
Like, what are you
hard.
gonna? How do you
That's true.
cheat
They're
on
probably
that?
And
not
they're
cheating,
also on a
right.
30-second delay.
So
Keep that in mind.
Wow.
So
That's
they're
true.
seeing
So the
this 30
fans doing a
seconds
great
after.
Well, hell,
job.
then they got that one before they even saw the picture. It wasn't up to 30
Unbelievable.
seconds.
All right, next
Nice
guy,
job.
another baseball guy, more recent, but guys, name this dude.
Oh, that's Lonnie Chisenhall.
Chisenhall.
Yes, Chisenhall. Good job, Bull.
Yes.
Shiz.
All right, Jason, this one's up your alley. Guys, get ready to name this dude. Steve, take it.
I covered him.
and this dude, they had the nerve to start this man too.
Is that Liggins?
Yes.
No, you can't. That was cheating.
Why
is that
He didn't
cheating?
raise his hand.
Yes, I did.
He didn't raise his
I
hand.
did.
He had his
I
hand
raised
up.
my
Did he raise his
hand.
hand?
We'll say Jason.
Yes.
Hey,
I was like
It
this.
was like
Hey.
this.
He got it right.
Yeah,
He got it right. Nobody else was
Were you
buzzing
going to say
in.
Liggins?
Nobody else
The
was
fact-
buzzing in.
I was like, that's that dude that they randomly started for 20 games.
All right, if somebody screams out and they're wrong, they get a negative.
Of course.
Yes.
All right. Let's go.
I got it. I had my hand up and I
It's
got
like
it right.
Jeopardy. You
It's
have,
not
to,
a makeup.
you have to form it in the phrase of a question.
right.
Phrase it in the form of a
Yes.
question.
Next one, name this dude. Number 365 on the rundown.
I'm terrible with numbers.
I don't know why I'm guessing. It's stupid. Mac Wilson?
Close, but that is not correct.
Damn, I should not have guessed.
This picture's from 2016.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the 16 season. Those are the
Lord.
uniforms they wore when they beat the...
Uh,
or no, I was thinking 18.
I was
That's
covering the Cavs
16?
at 16.
is it last name Thompson?
It is not, but that has to count as a guess,
That's a
right?
negative.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a guess.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going
I'm
into the
not
water
touching
because
this.
I don't...
All right, the chat's got it. We have multiple chat answers. Jordan D'Agostaro, Mike Peasy.
Oh, I thought that was the name of the player.
I did too.
And
I
Wouldn't have
Six
surprised me,
got it
Like, who
boy.
the hell is that?
It is Jamie Collins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We forgot about him. We thought we had something, too.
Now I see why you said
We
close
thought,
on
we
that
thought,
one.
we thought we all Jamie Collins from the
That's
Patriots.
serious. He did nothing.
Zero.
All right.
Zero.
Next up, name that dude.
Oh,
Number 82, if you can't see.
That's old school because look at those shoulder pads.
Was that?
this is since 2000?
I'm guessing.
Yeah,
even though I
it's
don't
since
know.
2000.
Since 2000,
Is it Rabisky?
No.
No.
No. That's
Not Rabisky, no.
No.
I shouldn't
don't know
guess if
this.
I don't know.
I don't know
why
this
I'm
guy.
doing that. These guys are cowards.
No.
The year 2000.
Year
This is
2000.
the
thought it
first
went
year,
way
bro.
back. Look at those
No,
pads.
second. That's the
That's
second
second.
year.
This is Chris Palmer.
82.
No
They
one
had a
in the chat. I
receiver
don't see
from
anyone in the
Kansas
chat yet.
State, but I don't think that was him. Is it? Oh, God, I want to say it.
YOLO.
No way.
No, I already YOLO and got the
He
negatives.
YOLO.
I don't see.
If I'm right, no, I can't.
Coward.
I think
right.
it's the guy from Kansas State, but I'm not going to say it.
I don't see anything in the chat. I don't see anything in here, so we're gonna move on.
Who was it?
Well, you got to tell us.
David
Quincy
Pack-
Morgan? Oh, David.
David.
wow.
Remember?
I thought it was Quincy
I think he
Morgan.
played. I
Random
think he played
dudes.
for the Patriots too, didn't he?
He
Yeah,
did play for the
He
Patriots.
did.
David
Yep.
freaking Pack.
All right.
All right,
Golly.
moving on. Name that dude. It's a Cavalier.
Jamario Moon.
that was easy.
He's
I was
got a
gonna-
big advantage on these Cavs.
Damn it.
I was gonna say.
Well, he's up to G. I think he's tied with G now. No?
1, 2, -1, -2.
Wow.
Because I'm not afraid.
Living your
Look where
fears.
it's got you. Look where it's
Anthony
got
said
you.
when he was looking for pictures, this was the most difficult guy to find a picture of. So this is gonna be tough. Guys, name that dude.
Oh, I know who that is. That's Paul. Or no.
Were you gonna say Paul Sorrento?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I would have.
Four.
Yeah, I will when I'm ready. The chat's gonna get this one right away.
The chat.
He was a popular player here.
Oh!
The chat got it. So
I know. I got my hand up. 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 I got my hand up.
Who is it?
Ryan Garko.
Correct.
Yes, Ryan Garko. Damn it.
Ryan Garko.
Good
Nice.
one.
Shout out to Mark Solslick for getting that in the chat.
Nice
as
job.
He made sure he got his hand up that
Sweating.
time.
All right, next
Sweating.
one. Another baseball back-to-back, guys, and name that dude.
Oh, Kerry Wood.
Correct.
Yep.
Good one.
Yep.
He's a former Cub. He better get that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, right? That's
Next
why.
up, guys, name that dude.
Nope.
What's this dude's name? He's from Knight, Brandon Knight.
Correct.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
funny story.
Good. Kentucky.
Steve, pull that one back up real quick. Funny story. I was going over these with Anthony this morning,
He was here for 2
and I
weeks.
initially asked him for a picture.
Maybe.
I initially asked him for a picture of John Henson, and he put this up, and I was like, "That's not John Henson.
Yeah.
That's Brandon Knight." But he's
Yeah.
good enough and random enough that we can
We'll
leave him
take
in.
I covered that team, and I don't remember Brandon Knight being here. And I was the beat writer.
I mean, listen.
And I don't remember that.
Since an early bad start, we're doing all right.
Yep. Well, G's got like 3 or 4 now.
3.
3.
She got 3.
Well, how many correct answers have we all gotten? Can you tell that?
Well, 6.
Well, I had 1, but I got
More
taken
than that,
away.
yeah.
I had 4. You had like
I've got
3.
3, I think.
Yeah.
I've gotten
but I missed
3 or
2.
4.
You went down to -2.
Right, but that's because I got some wrong.
Yeah, no, so you
Yeah,
got
Yeah.
2 right.
Yeah.
I got to tell you.
These are all hard.
Even the guys that look familiar to me, I'm like, I know that guy's name. As soon as you said Ryan Garko, I'm like, of course it's Ryan
Who's
Garko.
the best player that he's shown? I mean, I guess Kerry Wood. Although
Well,
wasn't
but
really
he
good
didn't have
with the
success
Indians.
here.
Yeah.
Ryan Garko.
They're all pretty much scrubs.
Yeah. they were-
Mid sauce.
All right.
I think Betancourt
Larry
made an all-
Vickers was a solid
Yeah, he was-
fullback.
I think
Yeah.
Betancourt made an all-star team, actually.
He did.
He did.
And
next up.
what's his name? The long snapper that
Yeah,
I
who
got
cares?
right.
Come on,
Yeah,
let's
Charlie
go.
Hewlett's
Let's go.
been here
Sorry.
forever.
All right, we're going back to the Browns.
Oh.
Name this dude.
Mike, can't we just keep going and skip over?
Oh,
We are,
shit.
we are.
Oh, Chris Gardocki.
It is Chris Great
Tied now, right?
Yeah, tied.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, we're gonna do all of these, and if it goes into past one, we're going past one.
You know,
No-
to
no-
me, that
no
looked like a
overtime, right? Just keep going.
1990
Oh, yeah, we
photo
keep
of
going
a
to
punter.
And it stopped me because I thought it was Zassadil
Nice
because I
job,
seen
nice
the
job.
left foot. And I was
That's
like,
what
no.
threw me.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
That's what threw
Gardocki.
me.
Yeah. And then I was
Jason,
like,
that's a good call.
God.
Jason,
I
good
said, I was like,
That's a
I was
great
like, I
call.
thought I had it. I thought I was away.
All right, we have 11 more. Next
All
up,
right.
name that dude. 2005 Browns. I believe his name was mentioned already today.
Lewis? Is that Jamal Lewis? No, he was 20. He was in the 20s, I think.
Not Jamal
That's a
Lewis.
negative for me.
So,
Oh! No.
You guess again, Jay.
Yeah,
Ben Gay.
It is not Ben Gay, but the chat. Austin, anyone have a guess? The chat, 2 people got it. 3
No,
people
what
got
is
it.
it?
4 people got it. Shout out to Jordan Spooner, Dan
hey, hold
McKinney,
on.
Cutler Station, Cal Cambridge. It is Ruben Drones.
That I was gonna say that. I
Somebody
just
said
didn't want
Ruben
to.
Drones?
I wasn't gonna.
That's not
I
fair,
wasn't gonna
Mike.
wager it.
You said somebody had said it.
No,
Nobody said
Ruben
Ruben
Jones had not been mentioned.
No,
Drones
nobody
For some
has not
reason, I
been
thought
mentioned.
Drones was number 29.
I did
didn't
too.
know he
You
was
Screwed
number
me up. I wouldn't have
34.
guessed Ben
Yeah, I
Gay if it
thought-
wasn't for you.
Oh, you got a lot of excuses
That's
today, Bull.
yeah, fair. Touche.
All right. Next up, name this dude.
Oh! J.J. Hickson.
Correct.
Man, you be
traded him to
listen,
Sacramento,
his
right?
arms are shorter.
Where they get it.
They get right up there. They just
He
go like
does.
this. All he
got
does
a
is
quick
this.
trigger.
All he does is this.
It's like the short arm dude that benches 400.
Yeah.
He's only got to move it a little bit.
His hands be like this. It'd be hamster hands.
Jason has officially taken
All right, next up, we're going baseball for this next one.
Hamster
Guys,
hands.
name that dude.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Can't see his face.
Yeah,
I
I can't
should-
see his face.
I should know this, man. This is like back in the Negro Leagues. He played for the Indians. I should know this.
That photo does look like it's been a minute.
Wow.
I can't see his face.
It's an infielder.
Oh my
This
goodness.
was one of like 3 pictures he has as an Indian.
I have a guess, but I'm too much of a coward.
Man, I ain't about to wager that on that.
Chat has not gotten it yet. You guys are still good.
No, I'm sitting this one out.
I think he's a Latin player.
We
Mike, I have a
cool.
hint for this one.
Shoot.
I don't think he is Latin, boy.
He's straight black.
No, he is Latin.
Told
He is
ya.
Latin.
He's Latin black. Not straight black.
Latin black. That's
And the
wild.
chat has gotten it. The chat has gotten it. Evan S. in the chat nailed it. It is Luis Valbuena.
No, I was thinking Holbert
I should
Cabrera.
have known that one.
I know one black infielder.
I used to call
Brandon
him
Phillips.
the mini Manny. He like wanted to be Manny
Big dude
Ramirez in
for
the worst
yeah,
way.
right.
He was a really bad Jose. You know, he had that strut to him.
Yeah,
That boy
but he
didn't.
didn't. But he shouldn't have.
But
Yeah.
no, he didn't earn the strut.
Your ground ball game is not like that.
No.
All right, guys, 8 more. Let's start with
I got a
another
1 lead. I got a 1 point lead.
Yeah, you're in the lead.
former baseball player.
I'm not going to guess because I don't want to finish last.
Guys?
I'm done guessing.
Name that dude.
No clue.
Oh.
You better get that elbow checked out.
Tyler Chatwood?
It is not Chatwood.
He out here looking like the scarecrow.
Look at his elbow is actually dislocating on that pitch.
Oh, and that was the last pitch he ever threw.
Like, bro, what is going on with your arm?
Oh my
I got
God.
nothing. I got nothing.
Man.
He looked
He's
like
a pitcher.
Are you sure
know
this wasn't
shit.
taken? This was taken from Indians fantasy camp, wasn't it?
man.
It's from 2010. He pitched in 2010.
I don't actually think Tyler Chatwood pitched for the Indians.
He's right-handed in
No,
case
he
you
didn't.
know
I
why.
don't remember.
This dude looked like he in line for like skin removal after he lost a lot of weight.
Damn, his elbow is jacked up.
Who is that guy?
Chat has not gotten this yet. So
They're not
I'll
going
give it
to.
another 10 seconds before I give
No,
you the
they're not
answer.
gonna-
Get
no
him
one's
up out of
getting
here. This is nondescript as they come.
Did
This
he
dude-
ever have? Did he have a career of substance?
No.
You know, I have no idea. He was in the chat earlier. Someone guessed him for a different one and was wrong. You guys ready?
Wait.
You're not gonna
Alright,
get this.
God.
It's Mitch Talbot.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got it.
Mitch
Wouldn't have got
Talbot.
it.
You
That
could have
is
told me
random.
Mitch Talbot, and I wouldn't have guessed
No,
Mitch
I
Talbot.
would.
That
I
is
would have
about
told
as
you
random.
that's not Mitch Talbot.
That guy,
We actually triple checked to confirm that.
that
they were
guy
wrong.
does not,
think it
did
is.
not have a career.
His elbow
No.
is a mess.
All right. Jay, if there was one you're going to get,
This is it?
This is for you.
All right.
Steve, take it. Name that dude.
Oh, it's my guy, Luke Herringody.
Yep.
Yep.
Goaty.
Hit the American flag on a 3-pointer. And the
No, he
right.
didn't.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he
It's
did.
one of the best clips of all time.
Lower right-hand corner, top of the arc, 3-pointer, hit the American flag. First and only time I've ever seen.
Hey, he was kind of jacked there at Notre
was
Dame.
great
He
at
was
Notre
a
Dame.
he was a big
flag?
boy.
Hit the flag. Hit the flag on the backboard in the
True
lower right
story.
corner on a 3-pointer. Bang! Off the flag.
It was incredible. I really wish, and when we set this up beforehand, we did it in the box so we could see your guys' reaction as it was going. It's too small, lesson learned.
Yeah.
When we do this again, for everyone in the chat, if you like this, just wait till you can see their reactions as they're trying to figure it out. It's pure gold, and I'm so upset that it should have made it bigger. Bad job out of us, but we'll do it better next time. All right, next up, Steve. Name that dude, guys.
That is.
This is old.
This is Gerard Warren.
Bingo.
Big money.
Got it.
Big money.
Yeah, big money Gerard Warren.
Well, now what's the score? 4?
He's still.
He's got 5. He has 4.
Uh-oh.
Jay, you're at -2. Boy, you're at -2.
We have 6 left.
I'm holding tight, so it's all up
left.
to you, buddy.
2 Cavs, 2 Guardians or Indians, and 2 Browns.
Giving it all away now.
Well, we did 10 of each. I'm just telling you, there's 2. We've been going in a very specific order. We went Browns,
ahead.
Cavs,
I haven't even
Guardians,
picked up on
Guardians.
that. Okay.
Go ahead.
Next up, 6 left for all the marbles. Name that Brown.
This is okay.
Dated my high school video teacher.
So he.
That should help.
I think I know it.
That's
So-
got to be an L. It's
A
too long.
returner, wide receiver.
No. He listen. He
Give me a guess.
he dated Kim Kardashian.
You got 3 seconds.
19. What is
3,
his name?
2, 1.
Miles Austin.
Yes.
Damn, you
Miles
are killing it,
Austin.
bro.
That is
That
disturbing
is his.
right
I knew who it was.
That's a 2-point swing, baby. That's
That
a
is
2-point
big.
swing.
It's going to be hard to catch you.
Man, that hurt. I knew who that was.
That was
Director
huge.
Steve
Impressive.
just did something very creative
thought
on
it might-
tag board. So
Yeah.
we're going to see if this next one works, but I'll give you guys a little reaction
okay.
shot. 5 left. Steve, you ready? Take it. Name that dude.
I didn't raise my hand.
Number 9.
It's raised.
Bull was
It's
in.
raised.
Bull
It's
is in.
raised. They have to wager.
You got it.
Jose Calderon.
Incorrect.
Omri Caspi.
No.
Even more incorrect.
Oh, no.
Wait. No, those are the new uniforms.
Yeah, it's got the cliffs up there.
Oh, God.
Points away.
The chat has gotten it. I'm ending it. The chat.
Number 19.
Grace Dillinger, Evan S., Scott McNeil, Bobby G, all these guys at Cal. There's a bunch of. It's Raul Neto, guys.
Oh, damn.
That's a terrible job.
You know what they
man.
did?
I
You know
thought you
what?
would have got that.
I don't know why I thought
Hey,
that was Calderon.
they hit you with the child of Rubio and Ty Jerome.
Man,
ended up with that
I was
guy.
trying to go. I was trying to go over
the love child.
Rubio and Jerome.
I was trying to go over the top to put it away and threw a pick 6.
Yeah, you did.
Let you right back in
Baker.
it.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, listen.
man.
Yeah, we right back. Let's
All
go.
right, next up, guys, name that dude. Whenever you're ready, Steve.
Mike Lucas. Oh! That's, oh my God! How did I forget his name?
Give me a guess.
He was a really good starting pitcher. It's, and he pitched for the Red Sox too.
Right, Bo has it. He just doesn't know his name.
Ah!
3, 2, 1.
Justin Masterson.
I said it! I said it!
I got it.
said it!
He called on me.
Anthony.
I said called on me.
Anthony.
Jason's.
Wait, you have the lead now.
Yeah,
I've been in the lead.
Oh, okay.
I'm up 3, right?
Just
No,
came
you're
to
up
me.
two.
You have 2.
It was
I thought
Justin
it was
Masterson.
no, because he went down
So
one and I
Bull
went up
never
one.
guessed,
But then
so
you
he
missed
doesn't
it.
lose to another one, right?
Nah,
The
I
Miles
did. I raised
Austin
my
should have
hand.
put me up 3.
Yeah, no, but if you raise your hand,
he
but don't
lost
guess.
one
I lost
because he put his
one.
hand up.
I lost one.
You
I
lost
met-
one. Now
but then
you're
I
back
just
up.
came
I
back
should-
up. So I'm
I
up
think
3.
I technically said it before Jason.
No, you didn't. Go
Take
back.
it up with Anthony.
I want the audio back.
Well, we can go back and watch it
Take
later.
it up with Anthony.
I'm up 3.
All right, we
You're
have
running away
3
with it.
left.
There's
So
3
just
left.
know, 3 left.
Oh,
I
well.
got it.
I don't want anyone, no tanking, no mailing it in. Steve, take
not
it.
guessing.
Name that dude.
Oh, I think I
2016.
know this.
2016.
Yeah,
He's a pitcher.
Do I do this?
these bullpen
Do it,
guys.
Jason.
Do I do it?
Jason, you've
You
never
got a
done anything.
3-point lead. Go for it.
No, because then it's going down to 2.
There's only 2 left. You'd have to miss all 3 of them.
Or I
No,
have
he
get all
has to
two
get
of
them all right.
All right, the chat got it. The chat beat you to it.
All right, I think I know it.
Jason, what's your guess? You don't get it. The chat gets it. But what was your guess?
Dan Otero.
He
Oh,
would
that's
have been
it.
correct.
That's
it is
it.
Dan Ortega.
Yeah,
I'm
good
such a
job.
coward.
The
That
chat
was a
gets it. Do
gutless
not
move
give
right
Jason
there.
a point.
I'm
the chat
such a
gets it.
coward.
We should have known
Should
that.
have did it, man.
Jason, you're a coward.
I know, but I'm a winning
next.
coward.
That's
2
true.
more.
You can't lose now. You're up 3.
That's right.
With 2 to go.
That's
Not
right.
necessarily. Jason can guess both wrong, and he can get both.
And I am
Well,
dumb
that's
enough
true.
to guess them both.
Well, he could just sit it out.
Jason, do not. If you know this next one, it's a Cav. Don't you dare.
He just
Don't
knew
be
the
gutless.
last one and sat it out.
Jason,
be
I'm gonna
gutless.
make you answer this. All right, ready? Final Cav. Name that dude.
Oh, it's my guy!
No, it's
I was first! My hamster hand was first!
It's Samardo! It's Samardo!
alive I've seen Jason
I've
ever.
never seen him this excited about anything.
Never.
Not even true and false when he would
So
win.
it's every game.
This man,
He loves this.
This man is hitting these buzzers, and I'm like, oh, he's like,
This is the best game ever. I love this game.
How much is G down by?
4.
Yeah.
All right, this last one's worth 4 points.
Oh, bullshit! 5, make it 5. Make it 5 for the win.
Okay, well,
5 point.
no, because Jason shouldn't lose just to get it right. But before we put this last one,
Probably some random Browns lineman.
Well, it's going to be a Browns player. We know that.
he
before
won
we
that.
put this one
He
up,
got that.
Dude, you got
if you're in the
this.
chat, let us know if you like
Up by
this
your
game.
feet.
We'll try
I'm
to
just
bring
put
it
it
back
right
next
here.
time. But if you like this, let us know.
Good
Give us
adjustment,
feedback on
Steve,
it.
with the pictures.
Okay, last one. This is worth 4 points. Steve, take it. Guys, name that dude.
G.
Uh-oh.
Griffith.
Yes!
No!
Yeah!
Yes!
What a fool!
This is
What a
fraudulent.
fool!
No,
This
okay,
is
listen,
fraudulent
Jason-
It was
story.
one of the greatest pulls of all time.
It was, but it really was unfair that we
It was
did
G.
Jason's the winner, but G, that's a hell of a pull.
That's a pull.
That is a great
That is a
pull.
Kyrie pull. Like, oh my gosh. I said, you're 24. Oh, that's Griffith. Yeah. Safety.
Wait,
Strong safety.
I think we need the first name, too.
Do you know the first name, G?
Nondescript black names for 200 gold.
Hey, G, by the way,
Malik.
it is in that.
Huh?
It's in that category.
I think I know his first name. Now you said it. I think I know
If
his
Jason
first
has
name.
the first name,
Is it Howard?
Jason,
Robert?
it is Robert Griffin.
Yeah,
That is
right.
the.
Wow.
Yep.
So G tied it up, but the first name was the extra point. Jason, you are the first ever winner
Man.
of the Name That Dude.
Jason dominated
Hey.
the basketball and got some baseball. G did a very good job with the football one.
I can't tell who any of these guys are. I literally, if you would have said some of these guys
Wow.
were
Wow.
participants from the Indians fantasy camp, I would have
wouldn't
believed
have
that.
known,
I totally would have believed
Mitch
that.
Talbot is totally
Especially
unfair.
Talbot with
Right.
his elbow like
Ridiculous.
triple jointed, disconnected,
That-
skin
hey.
flapping.
Anthony did a great job as our
Oh,
judge.
good job,
Anthony
Nice
did a
job,
tremendous
Anthony.
job.
Anthony really had a day today.
He
It
did.
started with them fixing
Yeah,
the
he
monitors,
killed it.
and by fixing I mean turning them
I
on.
wasn't letting them ruin that game. I was part of that.
You were there for us.
Yeah.
Can you
That
imagine if
game's
the
a big
monitors
winner,
didn't work
Mike.
and we didn't play that today?
What's
Can you
that?
imagine if the monitors just were actually
Oh.
we couldn't have played that? That was
No,
the
we
most fun
wouldn't have
we've
been
had
able
in
to
a long
play.
time.
Anthony saved the show.
Yeah.
That was
More
great.
ways than
That game's
one.
great. I think it's a
That is a
10.
great game.
10 out of 10.
Well, it's a
And now
keeper.
I think we should expand it too to other teams.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's,
Hey.
That's impossible.
That's
No, but they
crazy.
can't be so obscure.
Well, it would be
Like what he did there was he picked the most obscure Cleveland athletes he could find.
intentionally.
Now,
Intentionally.
Justin Masterson was good here.
He was good. He had a good career. But
good
I got to
few
tell you,
years.
from that picture, it didn't look like his delivery. He was really side
Yeah.
eye.
Honestly, I wasn't sure until Bull said Red Sox.
And
I'm
once
like,
he
yep,
said Red
Justin
Sox,
Masterson.
yeah.
but it didn't look like his delivery to me. I thought he was more over the top, and in that picture, it looked like he was coming completely from the
We
side.
got super chats to wrap up the show, but I will say this: the good news is we can run that back because there are so many obscure athletes
Oh, yeah.
in
Oh,
Cleveland
God.
from 2020
Absolutely.
to 2025.
Yes.
So
Got to get
run
Ben
that
Gay in
back.
there eventually.
like, he's going to be here, and that's going to be your pick.
I'm guessing Ben Gay, every football player I see until I'm going to get
Until
one
you
of them
put it
right.
in.
Hand up. What position did Ben Gay play? I'm
Running back.
Running back.
unfamiliar with Ben Gay, other
Running
than
back.
the Ben Gay stuff you put on your arm when it
Yeah.
hurts. All right, super
I
chat.
always thought his parents really did that. Oh my God. That's all I could think of. The
Right.
whole time I was watching this guy, I'm like, wow, they really did it.
Oh, remember the pitching coach and former pitcher, Dick Pole?
Dick Pole.
Yes, of course.
Yep.
Like, what do you think? Why? How?
Why wouldn't he just call himself Richard?
Rick. Anything.
Ricky.
Ricky.
Like Dick Pole?
All right, let's get the super chats. First super chat, Sly says, I wish all the Garland and Mobley stock I bought last year could turn into real money.
Right.
Well, if you held it, it is real money.
I want to give a shout out to Sly and Phil Bowman, who both gifted a ton of memberships. Phil gifted 15, Sly gifted
Damn.
30 today.
30
Yeah,
memberships?
30 memberships, so shout out to you two, real MVPs. We appreciate all you guys. Thank you
that is
very,
awesome.
very much. Typically, we do overtime. The game went a little long, so there won't be overtime today. But typically, it's this extra period here. Charles T says, do you guys think Haslam said to Stefanski, you better not break my $230 million player. Handle this guy carefully.
Yeah, could have been.
He was already broken when he got here.
Yeah.
He was, but I do think that, or Kevin recognized early on when he did try to coach him hard, well, that didn't work.
Yeah, we
So
gotta
let
do
me
the
try something
New
else.
approach.
Yeah.
Charles T also says, Could the Tommy Rees hire mean we're going after Milroe? If so, are you trading the number 2 pick for Parsons in 12, scoop Milroe later in the draft?
No.
It's completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Why would the Cowboys are not trading Micah Parsons to move up 10 spots? I don't believe that.
No.
The next super chat is about the Cowboys as well. Pranav Karode says, rumors/reports, Jerry Jones willing to take $100 million cap hit by trading Dak to get Deion and Shedeur. He looks at Shedeur as his next
There's no
quarterback.
reports. Stop saying that.
Yeah.
There's no reports.
I think there was
why.
the sarcasm.
There's just
That has to
random
be
people on the internet.
That has to be sarcastic.
Yeah.
That can't be like somebody.
Zero
was
chance.
that.
No one of substance is reporting that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next one. DB Dog 21 says, I can't kill Andrew Berry, the front office, for going after Watson. If it had worked, we would be praising them. It's not their fault he was this bad. Regroup and let's go. Tony Joe 3 says, yesterday I played Tyvus's parlay and everything hit, but Don had 3 threes. We needed 4. Everything else was Rice. Strus hit 3 threes. Mobley had 15. And I was 1 Mitchell 3 away from $250.
That's the way it always goes.
Why you
down.
don't, man? Those parlays are so tempting, but they're tempting for a reason.
They are,
But
yes, but it's so seductive.
it's hard to hit those things, man.
Charles T. also says, Brown's last 2 quarterbacks had issues handling the mental side of Cleveland in the NFL. Sanders has shown he can handle the hype, the media, and the mental pressure to thrive. Prime knows top of the draft are bad teams.
Is Cleveland the hardest place to play quarterback in the league?
No.
No.
New York.
I would think Cleveland would be the easiest because no one has succeeded before you.
Just don't throw it to the other team.
It's not like you're
Well,
following
it's-
Tom
it's
Brady.
hard
I wouldn't
that-
want to be New England's quarterback.
No. Well,
I mean, it's tough.
but Drake May is not the direct replacement.
No, he's not. But
Right.
for the next 5 years, everybody who plays that position there is going to be measured against Tom Brady.
I think there was a level of pressure in that nobody succeeded, so it feels like nobody could succeed here.
Yeah.
And so anybody that can get over the hump, which Baker did to some degree.
No, there's pressure to be a quarterback at every
Sure,
of the
yeah,
32
yeah.
cities. But I just don't think that there's more pressure to do it well here.
Yeah.
No, I
There's
don't
no
think so.
expectation here.
And the last super chat comes from Chris Fox, who says, believe it or not, I still have a Reuben Drones jersey.
What number was
You're a
right?
real one.
I just
I
could
could
swear
swear
that Reuben Drones was 29.
I did too. I think
And
Maybe
we
he
showed
changed
a guy wearing number 34.
Yeah, that was.
On Pro Football Reference, it tells you all the numbers he wore. Hold on.
Maybe
He may have changed his number while he was here.
He was in Denver. I remember him playing in
He
Denver.
had a couple
Yeah.
of really good years in Denver.
Yeah, he wore a bunch of different jersey numbers.
He was 29 here, right?
It doesn't say what numbers were per years, but he has multiple numbers.
Okay. 'Cause
What is the technical term for something that's a lie that both people believe in, like that something that is inaccurate, but
Anti-vax?
or we just imagined it happened. That was a perfect
Hey,
setup.
I'm seeing, by the way, he may have worn. I'm seeing 15 different pictures of him in 34 uniform. Yeah, this is that was definitely Reuben Drones.
In Cleveland. In Cleveland.
Yeah, in Cleveland. Yeah.
Okay. God, I don't know why I had him at number 29.
His 1,000-yard season, he was 34.
Did he ever wear 29 in his career?
It does say at some point in his career he wore 29. It just
Okay.
doesn't tell you
Okay.
what years were.
'Cause
Doesn't
I'm like-
it show the uniform? I thought they did that. No?
I'm just looking at maybe on a different page. But I'm just looking at this page. right
Maybe it's just baseball that reference that does that.
here.
All right.
Yeah.
love
Actually,
baseball
no. You know
numbers.
what?
I
No, he
love
never
it.
wore 29. He wore he was 34 for the Browns the whole time.
Wow. He must
wore
have been 29 in
34,
Denver.
22.
Was he 29 in Denver?
He's 34 in Denver.
I don't know why I got him as number 29.
Yeah. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Name That Dude was a success. We'll do it again.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
It's called the Mandela effect. That's what it's called.